Guess I just realised they've been muted this entire time. I'm so dumb. Hello friends and welcome to this week's Higurashi When They Cry Meakashi stream. What I was going to say was, we're having some technical difficulties in that Steam has taken about 5 years to open, but I'm working on it. Lots of things are on sale, I don't care. That's not what I'm here for. I'm here to play my murder point and click games. Yeah, we're picking up exactly where we left off last week. Last week what happened is in the timeline of Watanagashi, alongside Keiichi, we as Shion broke into the ritual storehouse, and then we went drinking, and then we stayed with Mion that night, and we discovered that a murder had been committed, and thinking that Mion and our grandmother were directly responsible for Satoshi's disappearance, we tased them both, threw Mion into a cell in the torture chamber underneath the house, and then accidentally killed our grandma and threw her body down a well. And we are picking up exactly from where we left off last week. With that funky fresh cliffhanger, so it looks like the game has opened. Let's swap over to the GP. My issue is that sometimes Steam just hates me, and that's just how it is. So yeah, we picked up at the end of chapter 10, and we have got 4 more chapters to go, which I reckon will be 4 more chapters plus the end bit, which I reckon will be about 2 more streams. So we're just gonna keep pushing ahead. Have I read this one? Let's see. It's called Main House. Okay, yes, we have read that one. Cool. Just wanted to make sure. I was having such a happy dream. Satoshi was in the dream. He was leading his normal everyday life. He was back on the baseball team. Irie and I acted normally around him because we knew that's how mature people should act. We welcomed him back as if he'd been with us the whole time. Although he hits well in practice sessions, he still doesn't do well in a real game. Come on, Satoshi. 3 strikes already? I'm cheering for you. Then Satoshi pouted as he mumbled. Oh. I felt tears pouring down my face. Oh. Satoshi. Satoshi. I don't know what sort of noise she's meant to be making here. Ah, ooh. Just a little bit. The happy dream faded out with my sobs. The harder I tried to focus on it, the faster it faded. Oh, I had a very similar nightmare earlier, where I was so intently focused on the nightmare that my alarm went off and I was just incredibly confused. Soon it was all gone. I could see the bright morning sun through a crack in the curtains. I was in Mion's room at the Sonozaki house. When did I come back? I was crouching in the corner of the room and crying. A dream is a dream. I wished I hadn't woken up, but one must wake up from a dream. We live in a world where there are no dreams, and that's why we always wake up. But I wasn't sure if I was the only one dreaming that dream, because I felt like Satoshi was right beside me. Satoshi? Did you come back? There was no reply. That was the rule. If it was Satoshi, I wished it had smiled at me just once, but Satoshi's presence faded away, as if he were never there to begin with. I heard the phone ring by the front door. Ah, that's right. I was the only one in the house now. I had to answer it. I got up to walk to the front door. I felt unsteady, so I put my hand on the wall to support myself. I hardly got any sleep. It was like I had a bad cold. The phone continued to ring. I probably didn't have to answer it, actually, but I was still half asleep, and all I could think of was answering the phone. Hello, Sonozaki residence. Sorry to call you so early. It's Kimiyoshi. Is your grandma still sleeping? It was Uncle Kimiyoshi. She is, yes. I guess she's still tired from yesterday. I think I'll let her sleep in. Yeah, you probably should. Mion, you're going to school, right? Can I leave a message with you? Sure. What is it? Let's see. There will be an emergency meeting regarding the incident from yesterday. It'll be at the Shrine's Assembly Hall, starting at 5 p.m. Did you get that? Yes. I'll give her the message. As soon as I put the phone down, it rang again. Hello, Sonozaki residence? Good morning. Sorry to call you so early. This is Kasai. Is this Mion? Good morning. Kasai. Good morning. Is Shion still there? I wasn't panicked, but I hesitated. I could tell him no, or I could play both Mion and Shion. Shion was washing her face just now. I'll get her for you. I decided to play two parts. I went back and forth down the hallway and picked up the phone again. Kasai? Morning. Good morning, Shion. Are you going to school today? Of course not. I feel miserable. Kind of expected that. By the way, how are you getting back to Okonomiya? I can have someone can pick you up. I think I can get a ride from Uncle Kimiyoshi or someone else. Don't worry, I'll figure something out. Your father told me to make sure you go to school often enough. I'd appreciate your cooperation. I'll go when I feel like it. By the way, Kasai, did you hear? What about? You know, the incident from last night. Yes, I have. How truly horrifying. All the past victims were war criminals from the dam conflict, right? But it's different this year. What do you think about that? I don't really know. Kasai wasn't the type to talk too much. If it was about something complicated, he usually responded like that. Do you know why those two fell under the curse of Oyashiro-sama? No. I heard this last night. Supposedly, they stuck into the ritual storehouse during the festival. I keep looking over from where I'm reading, and every so often I see the flicker that it looks like I'm dropping frames. And even though I know I'm not, and also I know that frames don't really matter in this as long as you can hear my voice more smoothly, it's still, like, scaring me every time. I'm, like, seeing it as, like, an illusion now. Supposedly they stuck into the ritual storehouse during the festival. They used a metal wire or something to unlock the door. Kasai went silent for a while. I held my breath while waiting to see how he responded. I expected him to say that he couldn't believe those people were chosen as a victim just for sneaking into a storehouse. I expected him to say that it was just too unrealistic. I see. That was stupid of them. Since Tomitake was an outsider, I bet he didn't know. I went along with Kasai, but I felt disturbed on the inside. Kasai didn't wonder why breaking into the ritual storehouse would justify their deaths. Sorry, it's lip balm time. I'm keeping hydrated because my skin is dry as the desert. I'd known Kasai for a long time, which is why I knew there was a heavy meaning to what he said. By the way, Kasai, actually, I did it too. Did you go in? Yeah. You went into the ritual storehouse, Shion. Yeah. Mr. Kano invited me. Mr. Kano, Mr. Tomitake, and remember Keiichi who moved here just recently? Him, me, to make 4 of us. So, Shion's the weak link. I heard Kasai sighing heavily. Even though he didn't say a word, I could tell he was shocked. I'd never known him to act this way before. Shion, don't you remember what happened last year? How do you think you can take care of this? Last year it was 3 nails, so maybe 5 this year? Sorry. I wasn't trying to make light of the situation. I know I shouldn't have done it. I regret it at least a little bit. But is it really that terrible a thing to do? You are related to the Sonozaki main family. Do you really think people would understand? But I've been living in Okonomiya all my life. Since the old woman hated me, I've barely been to Hinamizawa. Besides, I was stuck at school. How would I know about any of that? I heard another sigh from Kasai. That sigh told me my excuses would be useless. Shion, I am your ally. I want to support you as much as I can. But there are dangers even I can't protect you from. Besides, sorry. Sis is here, I've got to go. See ya. Click. I interrupted Kasai and hung up. I didn't want to hear it. I didn't want to hear Kasai reject me. He who had been my ally all my life. Shit. Damn it. Fuck. Could hear the sound of the cicadas. The sound made it feel like I was being cooked on a huge frying pan, making a sizzling noise. I couldn't help feeling remorseful. Now, pardon me, I knew that sneaking into the ritual storehouse wasn't a laughing matter. But I really didn't know it at the time. Sure, the door was locked, so they didn't want anyone to go in. Then why did they change the lock? What did they say? I think it was that Rika said that the previous lock was too heavy for her, so she had it changed to that cheap one. That was how Takano broke in. If the heavy lock was still there, this wouldn't have happened. I slapped my own forehead. Ha! Then I took a deep breath. I had to calm down. What was the point of fussing now? I'd already passed the point of no return. There was no use thinking otherwise. The hag was already dead. Even if she wasn't, she was now at the bottom of the well. Therefore, it was already past the point where I could just cut my fingers off in apology. I felt so unstable. I'd walked on the fence around the swings at the park before, as if I was walking on a tightrope. It was fun, because even if I fell, it was only a very short distance. But it wouldn't have been fun if I were up really high. At that very moment, I was in fact already on a tightrope that was a lot higher than the fence at the park. As soon as I took a step, the rope behind me would vanish. I couldn't step back because there was nothing behind me. So this is the story opposition to Watanagashi, but thematically it makes me think a lot of book 3 rather, with the idea of like you do something terrible and then the second half is you trying to move past that terrible thing. That was, in short, the current situation I found myself in. Just standing in one spot was all I could do. Even if I took another step, I'd fall if I wasn't careful. If I forced myself to walk, the danger would only increase, but if I didn't move, I'd fall eventually. I couldn't see what was ahead of me. There was no guarantee that I'd ever find firm ground. But if I stopped, there was only one fate waiting for me. I have to move onward. If staying here guarantees death, then I'd rather try to walk, even if I die as a result. Even if there was a dead end ahead of me, at least I tried my hardest. In general, I try to be optimistic. I could accept my life not lasting particularly long. But I wouldn't go easily. I'd struggle as much as possible. I'd already killed the hag. For that, there could be no other punishment than death. I knew my life would end soon. In other words, I was actually already dead. A dead person has nothing to lose. That means I can only go on the offensive. Don't fight a dead person, she's got nothing to lose. It's my terrible impersonation of Sarah Shower, I do apologise. I clenched my fist tightly as I muttered. Even if I had to die, I couldn't die easily. This was my chance to avenge Satoshi. Who did it, for what purpose, and why? I was going to investigate. I was going to question. I was going to expose. Yes, I was going to settle the score. I'd carry out the plan I came up with yesterday. I could hide the hag's death somehow. All I'd have to say is that she hadn't been feeling well since Watanagashi. I could do it all while pretending to be Mion. Just in case her friends at school became suspicious, maybe I'll start telling them I hadn't been feeling well either. In fact, I did feel groggy from my lack of sleep. When I became Mion, Shion would automatically disappear. Okay, so, right. Say that feeling sick. I read that dialogue completely not paying attention to it. I'd already told Kasai that I snuck away into the shrine storage, so we'd probably end up telling people I was demoned away due to the curse of Oyashiro-sama. The last person I'd have to think about was the fourth one who snuck into the ritual storehouse, Keiichi Maebara. Maybe I can use him as bait to lure out the enemy? Sorry, Keiichi, you're going to be my bait. I felt a little bad since I was starting to like him. With all that figured out, let's go to school. I'd gone to school as Mion before, so I knew how things worked. It was almost time to leave the house. I appreciate the honesty of the explanation of why all the terrible things happened to Keiichi with just, I'm using him as bait. Mion, you're late. You waited? You should have just gone on ahead. Hey Mion, your face is red. You're breathing heavily too. Mion, are you not feeling well? Reina put her hand on my forehead. Reina, your hand is pretty cold. Mion, you're a little bit warm. It's no big deal. Give it half a day and I'll be fit as a fiddle. Are you really okay? You don't have to push yourself, you know. What's this? Keiichi, are you worried about me? Ha! That's nice of you. I'd always thought he was a goofball, so I was a little surprised. I thought they teased me, but they didn't. I just think you shouldn't push yourself so hard. We can tell the teacher you had to take the day off. I'm fine. I took some medicine. I think it's already working. Okay, then let's go. Don't overdo it, but of course there's the time. We need to run or we won't make it. This morning got pretty thrilling. Maybe it's just what I need to shake off this sluggishness. Let's run. President, if you would. Ah, everybody stand up. At attention. I'd made the same mistake before. I never learn, do I? If you can hear that sound, it's because it's candle time. Do you think Mion is doing okay? She doesn't look good. Oh, really? How unfortunate. It was a good idea to make them believe I was sick. Even if I did things differently from Mion, I had an excuse. Well, you know, girls have those days when they just don't feel well. I don't have those days. Nipa? Mion's friends kept each other occupied and left me alone. Keiichi Maebara. You might suddenly disappear one day. I couldn't let that happen. That'd be like letting a fish take the bait and swim away while I was fast asleep with a fishing pole in my hands. I couldn't miss the moment the enemy took a bite out of Keiichi. I had to be very careful. But it was impossible to keep my eye on him 24 hours a day. Spying on him at school like this wasn't good enough. Should I have him meet with Shion and let her explain that he's in danger? Maybe we could set up a strategy together. I didn't think Keiichi realised how serious a crime it was to step into the ritual storehouse. I hadn't, after all. Since last year, all the incidents that related to the curse had probably been investigated in secret. People involved with the three families would know about the incident from last night, but Keiichi shouldn't know anything. If he knew where he stood now, he'd be more cautious too. That should make him aware of his surroundings, and maybe he would notice if anything odd took place. The teacher called him sleeping, so she ordered him to go wash his face. He walked out into the hallway. I was sleepy too. I had to be alert, but I couldn't clear my mind due to my lack of sleep. I decided to go home early. Since I'd been pretending to be sick since morning, my request was approved. As I exited the building, I saw Keiichi washing his face. I thought you'd be out here. Feels better outside, huh? Mion? No cutting class now. Looked like it felt refreshing for him to wash his face with cold water. I washed my face too, but didn't feel as good as it looked. Mion, how's your cold doing? You're sleepy because of the medicine, not from lack of sleep, yeah? Actually, this is a secret, but after the festival yesterday, I got wrapped in the party my relatives were having. And, well, I had a bit. Ugh. Pretended to drink with an invisible glass. You hungover? How old are you? Fucking 18 if you do it, well, any age. I started getting hangovers at age 18 and they never stopped since. They just get worse. He seemed worried. Okay, later. I'm going back. Be careful on your way home. Don't wobble into a sewer or a brook, got it? Keiichi turned around to go back into the classroom. One more thing, Keiichi. I stopped Keiichi. He, in response, turned around. What's up? This may sound weird, but don't think too hard about it. Depends on what it is. Last night, near the end of the festival, did you see Mr. Tomitake or Mr. Kano anywhere? I noticed Keiichi's body tense up. His reaction proved that he felt guilty about sneaking into the ritual storehouse. He was frightened that Mion Sanozaki might know about it. Pretty neat explanation. Unfortunately for me, I accidentally spoiled myself to the fact that, well, I mean, we knew already that Shion was behind all of it being Mion, but it's pretty cool to see in retrospect that the thing that was terrifying, that Mion somehow has this omniscient knowledge, is actually just Shion pretending to be her, emotionally fucking us up. He was frightened that Mion Sanozaki might know about it. I guess this was enough to give him a certain impression of Mion Sanozaki. You know Mr. Tomitake and Mr. Kano, don't you? You remember, Keiichi, when the four of you were talking during setup the day before? I could clearly see how dismayed Keiichi felt. He was trying to come up with an excuse. I can't remember. I might have seen them or not. He was both a bad liar and a bad actor. He wasn't really that intelligent after all. Fucking wrecked. I mean, we knew this, but also, well, that would make him a suitable friend for Mion. He was just a brat, unlike Satoshi. Although, when it came to lying and acting, Satoshi was at about the same level. Maybe Keiichi should be credited for at least trying to tell a lie. Satoshi wouldn't have even said a thing. Didn't need to be thinking about him right now. I see. Then, one more question. On the same night, did you see Shion? This was a very mean question. Keiichi was perplexed, as I'd expected. Didn't you ask me that yesterday? I think I told you that I wasn't sure if I had or not. Eh? I asked him that yesterday? He must have meant that Mion Sanozaki asked him that question. In other words, she asked him that after he left the storehouse and got back together with his friends. Damn you, Mion. When I asked her, she said she had no idea we went into the ritual storehouse. Shit. Did you? I guess I just thought I'd get a different answer if I asked you again. It's so... I love... because it's something that's so creepy at the time. The fact that you're like, she's clearly onto us and she's trying to, you know, basically barrage the answer out of us, and then Shion's like actually desperately covering up for having not known. Why are you so intent on knowing if I did or not? He was getting defensive. Keiichi couldn't hide his panic as he flared up at me. It's not important. It's just that there are some people who are speaking poorly of Tomitake, Mr. Kano, Shion, and you, Keiichi. I didn't really hear what they were saying, though. Keiichi was really perplexed now. This wasn't fun at all, but it could still be an interesting game. I didn't believe that you were doing something bad. I just wanted to ask a bit about it, so I did. Sorry for making you uncomfortable, okay? I made sure Keiichi felt a sense of crisis, then left. Harsh as shit. But we love it. Nobody can tell us apart. We're Mion and Shion, perfect twins. Sorry for the freeze there. And if you heard me singing cough syrup to myself. When I returned to the Sonozaki house, I saw a woman with an apron on. It was a housekeeper. Her name was Miss Shimiko. The hag had a few housekeepers who took care of the chores around the house. Ah, Mion, I'm glad you're here. Hey, Miss Shimiko, can I help you? Today was her turn to help out at the house. She'd arrived, but the gate was locked and she couldn't get in. She'd called, but there was no answer, so she'd just been standing there, not knowing what to do. Something must have happened to Granny at the festival. She's been in an evil mood ever since last night. Ah, I see. Shimiko tried to remember she'd done something wrong. She isn't ignoring you. She's just sleeping. She was up until very late, so I bet she can't wake up yet. You know how she is, right? Once she gets into this mood, it'll take a long time for her to be happy again. Yes, that's too bad. I think it might be better that you don't show up for a while. Even if you don't mean to upset her, Granny might take it the wrong way. Just let me take care of it. I see. Are you sure? I'm very grateful, though. Sorry to make you do this, but could you let the other housekeepers know that they don't need to come for a while either? When Granny feels better, I'll give you a call. So let's just leave her alone for now. Shimiko bowed, then left on her bicycle. Anyone who'd ever experienced Granny's wrath would understand. I headed into Mion's room, set her alarm clock for 2 p.m. and crawled into her bed. I needed to recover quickly. I had to be sharp, calm, and cool-headed. School should be out by 2 p.m. Maybe I'd get in touch with Keiichi. I'd have to call him. There would also be a staff meeting with the Fudo Shrine Assembly Hall in the evening. All the leaders of the 3 families, their relatives, and the town council members would gather at this meeting. They were all authority figures in Hinamizawa. I'd be attending in place of the hag, who was sick. I'd worry about the rest when I got there. People should notice that Mion and the hag were missing for a long time. I didn't need to worry, as I had plenty of time. I checked the alarm once more, then fell asleep as if someone switched me off. Hello? Ah, this is Sonozaki. Well, the younger one. Hello. Do you have time to talk right now? Shion? I thought you'd be sleeping in today with a hangover, same as Mion. What? My sis had a hangover? So like her. Keiichi had no idea that the Mion he saw earlier was actually me. He didn't notice when we talked in person, so there's no way he would notice on the phone. I never knew that playing 2 roles would be so much fun. To feel such enjoyment in this game of life or death, maybe I was getting used to the situation. Or maybe my senses had gone numb. Oh, sorry, my parents are waiting for an important call, so I can't talk for too long. What do you need? Something I wanted to talk about, but if we can't talk long, I guess there's that. Then how about meet in person? If you could show me where the library is too, that'd be great. You mean the public library near the station? Yeah, that's fine. I go past there on my way to work anyway. We decided to meet in Okonomiya. It wasn't easy to get there from Hinamizawa, but I had to hurry. I couldn't run into Keiichi as he was heading there himself. I recall that the key to the hag's motorbike was in her secret drawer. The hag usually got driven around for public events, but when she had her own errands, she rode her motorcycle. Keiichi, I assumed, was going to ride his bicycle. I tried to get to Okonomiya before he did. Another POV character learns how to use a motorcycle. Keiichi arrived quite a bit later than me. I'm going to sneeze in a minute. Motorcycles are faster after all. Pardon me. There were hardly any traffic lights to worry about on the way here either. Sorry for the freezes. Wow, Mion never keeps her appointments. I mean, honestly. Making my sister the standard for everything will get you in trouble. Hmm? You're a little unsteady. You didn't get much sleep last night either, did you? Don't try to hide it. You definitely went home from school early. Oh, too bad. I've been at home all day from the beginning. I'm smarter than my sis after all. Hey now, don't think you can call playing hooky smarter. Should finish your errand first. We don't have that much time. We're going to the library, right? Yeah, thanks. My mum had to return some books by today. Is the library far? No, it's right nearby. I meant it when I said we didn't have much time. I had to hurry a little. I was just going to talk to him on the phone, but I ended up coming all the way to Okonomiya. After our talk, Keiichi would slowly head back to Hinamizawa on his bike. I'd have to rush back there while making sure I didn't run into him. Otherwise, I couldn't make it on time for the meeting. Maybe I could be a little late, but since I needed to hear everything they were going to discuss, I didn't want to be. This was the Shishibone Public Library. It was sizable, filled with a collection of mouldy, smelly books. But they did have air conditioning and it was quiet. It was the perfect place when you wanted to be alone. After Soshi disappeared last year, yeah, I came here a lot to think about various things. This was where I first met Miss Takano. I didn't want to run into her with Keiichi in tow. But then I remembered she was already dead. The first floor of the building was occupied by government offices. The library itself was on the second floor, so we had to walk up a huge staircase to get there. I tasted cool air on my skin as soon as I walked through the automated door. Unlike outside, it was very quiet in here. The room temperature was both comfortable and suitable for books. I could smell the scent of old pages. All libraries smell the same. Keiichi walked up to the return table after he said so. Because it was a weekday, there was hardly anyone around. It really was very quiet. I was going to chat about some ordinary things, and then move on to the main subject. After Keiichi returned the books, I invited him into the inner section of the library. Keiichi knew me unwell, but he didn't know me at all. He showed an interest in our life story. This was exactly when Mr. Kano told me about the true history of Hinamizawa a year ago. I was about to tell Keiichi about things that were very similar to that. Did God have a sense of irony? Now that you mention it, that toy store looked like it was managed by relatives as well. Does that mean they operate Angel more too? I told him the reason why the Sonozaki family is so powerful in this area. I assumed that since Keiichi came from the city, there was a good chance he couldn't even begin to understand how one old family could literally control an entire area. Unless I explained to him how powerful the Sonozaki family was, he wouldn't understand what kind of danger was barreling towards him. The family is particularly strong in finance and real estate. Even a lot of members of the Chamber of Commerce and Industry either have the last name Sonozaki or other relatives. There are Sonozakis in the city council and the prefectural assembly too, since they have the Okonomiya area giving them strong electoral support. Wait a minute. This is all escalating pretty quickly. Relatives operate shops in downtown Okonomiya, and they're especially strong in finance and real estate. On top of that, a lot of people in the Chamber of Commerce and Industry are relatives, and there's even some elected to local offices. Keiichi counted with his fingers. He was clearly surprised to hear all that about the Sonozaki family. I'm distracted by Keiichi's vest. The implication either that he's wearing two vests, a black one and then a red one over it, very me, or he's wearing a red vest that's got like a black hem. It looks like it's sort of black underneath the red rather than hemmed, but I wonder what the other artworks for him are like. Yeah, that's definitely two vests. I don't like that one because he looks so absurdly muscled, and then this is just some weird jacket. I think these are the best ones if you ask me. It seemed he was flexible enough to accept even something that sounded outrageous to him. He was starting to understand things, although slowly. The way he viewed Shion Sonozaki was changing little by little too. That should be enough background information. Now I could go on to explain about Mion Sonozaki, the successor. Then I changed the subject, like Mr. Kano did with me. I go on to talk about the curse of Oyashiro-sama, and then the series of mysterious deaths. So then, the Sonozaki family, pretty famous in this area. Yep, crazy, isn't it? A fat man with a cigarette suddenly cut into our conversation. Oishi? Why was he here? Hello. Good afternoon. Are you on a date today? Ha, what would I give to be young again? If you thought you were on a date, then why are you bothering us, Mr. Oishi? What timing. Couldn't be coincidence. I knew this man too well. He was crafty, sly, and clever. His presence here just can't be a coincidence. Did he see us somewhere in town and follow us? But why? Did he need something from me, Keiichi, or perhaps the both of us? From what I could guess, I didn't think it was me he wanted something from. It was almost like he was trying to keep Keiichi away from me. Oishi was aware I gave false testimony to protect Satoshi last year. Maybe he didn't think he could talk to Keiichi if I was around. Why did Oishi need to talk to Keiichi? Must be about the incident from yesterday. I'm sure there were plenty of plainclothes officers at the festival, so they had to have seen who was last with the victims. In other words, Keiichi and I. But I wish he knew I was hard to deal with. That was why he was focusing on Keiichi at present. Why did he have to show up at a time like this? Meibara, right? You're one tough guy. Two-timing the Sonozaki sisters, are you? No, I'm not two-timing anyone. Keiichi looked at me, hoping for assistance. He blushed. The way he panicked reminded me of Satoshi. That aside, this wasn't going well. I wish he might even start talking about my relationship with Satoshi. I didn't want him to, nor did I want Keiichi to have any preconceptions. I wish he took a quick glance at me. His eyes told me something. He was purposefully talking about things I'd rather not talk about. He was basically telling me to leave, or he'd continue on to something that was worse than what they were currently talking about. He didn't use words, but his eyes clearly communicated that anyway. Damn that big fat weasel. I'm sorry, Keiichi. I really do need to get to my job. Huh? Oh, you do? I realised that I wouldn't achieve anything like this, even if I stayed longer, so I used my part-time job as an excuse to leave. I wish he looked at me and grinned. Damn it. He won today, but I'll win next time. Wait, didn't you have something to talk about today, Shion? Yep, I'll see you later. Oh, I'll give you a call after I'm done. It'll be okay to call at night, right? Yeah, probably okay. Then I'll talk to you later tonight. Bye. The hag's motorcycle had become my primary means of transportation. My next stop was a staff meeting at the Furude Shrine's Assembly Hall. It was easy to imagine how a normal meeting would play out if it were just celebrating the end of Watanagashi. But today's staff meeting was likely going to be a strain of the Sonozaki family councils. Yes, this staff meeting was going to deal with the heart of Hinamizawa. I couldn't let my guard down, even for a moment. I rested for a while at the house, then left for the meeting. I walked up the long stairs to the Furude Shrine. At the top, I saw some elderly men smoking in front of the hall. Since they had a minor fire a long time ago, it had been made into a non-smoking area. Born it, happening in the 80s. Is that Mion? The head of the Kimiyoshi family, Uncle Kimiyoshi, noticed me and waved. He must not have expected Mion to come alone. We've not got any other artwork for him. Normally it would have been either the hag by herself, or Mion tagging along as an assistant. Granny's been in a terrible mood since the incident last night. She's been staying in bed and won't even let me get near her. They all understood how troublesome she was when she was in a bad mood. They smiled bitterly in sympathy. So you're here as a Sonozaki family representative, then? Has Ms. Oreo told you anything? Sort of. What did he mean, has Oreo told you anything? That line by itself didn't really explain much. The staff meeting was usually led by the mayor, the head of the Kimiyoshi family, and he'd asked me as the substitute for the Sonozaki family head if I'd heard anything from her. I then realised he was supposed to lead today's staff meeting. No, Mr. Kimiyoshi, do I really have to lead the meeting today? According to the ranking order at family councils, any substitute for the Sonozaki family head is above the Kimiyoshi family head. In other words, I'd have to lead today's meeting. There was no way I could do that. Don't worry, I'll do it. You can just take a seat, Mion. If there's something you've heard from Ms. Oreo, just let us know, okay? Kimiyoshi, why don't we get started? Everyone's here now. The smokers put out the cigarettes and went back into the hall. I'm going to struggle to do voices here, FYI. The tables were set in a horseshoe shape, and I was told to sit next to the chair reserved for the chief. The seat opposite mine was empty. Considering its location, it was probably for the Furude family head, Rika Furude, but somebody had said earlier that everyone was already here. Either Rika had called an absent, or the empty seat was just a formality. Knowing the subject of this meeting, I don't think the Furude family head would even want to attend. Even if Rika actually attended, she wouldn't be able to say anything. All she'd usually do at the Sonozaki family councils was draw pictures on a notepad. She'd probably end up drawing pictures in this meeting too. Besides, they probably didn't want her to hear anything unpleasant. In this way, the empty Furude family seat was easily explained. When everyone was seated, the head of the Women's Association served tea. She gave me an evil look, trying me to try and help out. I got up and did so. After that, everyone fell quiet, and the secretary stood up. Everyone, thank you for coming today on such short notice, despite your busy schedules. Let's start with a few words from the mayor. Go ahead, please. Please excuse me for saying seated. Ken, you say seated too. Thank you all for coming today. Also, you all did a great job at Watanagashi yesterday. The festival was a great success as usual. There weren't any mishaps. Lots of villagers came, and I believe it went great on the whole. Let me see, how many people was it? According to the Imperial General Headquarters report, approximately 5,000 Jesus Christ people showed up. Haha. Everyone laughed except me. I hope we'll continue to work together to carry on this tradition. Must be a joke. I appreciate your cooperation. Clap, clap, clap. And applause with only 8 people doesn't sound so great. Okay, let's move on to today's proceedings. Kimiyoshi will lead the meeting today. Please applaud if you approve. Clap clap. Thank you. Hang on. I think I've got a tomato seed stuck in my throat. With your approval, Mayor Kimiyoshi will take over. Please, go ahead. Thank you, Ken. Let's start now. Sorry, could you close the curtains? Everyone closed the curtains nearest to them. The sun was still up, but with all the curtains closed, the room became very dark. The village chief explained the details of the incident, as well as what went on with the police. A police vehicle discovered Mr. Tomitake's body on its way to Okonomiya last night. Oishi's special curse unit was standing by, expecting something to happen for the 5th time, so they responded quickly. I like the phrase curse unit. Since Mr. Tomitake and Mr. Kano were rarely apart, Oishi got in touch with the neighbouring prefectural police departments and asked them to look for her. As a result, they found a burned body of a woman in the mountains of the Gifu prefecture, and the body was then identified as Miyo Takano. I'm going to look something up on my phone quickly. Gifu to I don't know if it's a real area, but I know Gifu is. Okay. So it's a fairly... Sorry, it's a fairly lengthy drive. So one presumes they did, they intended, okay. Right. Sorry, I was doing a Google there. It's a fairly hefty drive, basically. Or it probably would be. Shishibono City is adjacent to Gifu, but it would be a trip. One presumes they meant to make the body disappear, and it's just because we knew that Takano and Tomitake were partners that they knew to go look for Takano. Considering the circumstances, the police ended up labelling the incident as the 5th of the ongoing of the series of mysterious deaths. When he finished, there was dead silence. I watched to see who would speak first. Nobody said a thing. Then I noticed Kimiyoshi looking at me. This is where the head of the Sonozaki family would speak. Mion, has Oreo said anything about this whole thing? Everyone looked in my direction. I'm sure they could see the hag in me. Mion Sonozaki, acting head of the Sonozaki family. I'm here in place of Oreo, the current head. Thank you for having me. I became Mion. I tried to become as cold as stone, as unfeeling as the Mion I'd witnessed a year ago. That cold version of Mion was inside of me. That was me. I was her. Unfortunately, the curse of Oyashiro-sama has come to pass for a 5th time. This is deeply regretful. Everyone was held captive by my words. I wasn't a little girl anymore. The hag was speaking through my mouth. They all heard me and trembled in fear. Does anyone know why the curse happened again this year? After my question, everyone whispered to each other. I will tell you. It was because they broke the rule of the ritual storehouse and desecrated the sacred ground within. How dare they? A few elderly men got up and yelled. Fools! Can't believe this. They deserve to be killed. Oyashiro-sama, please calm your anger. Oh my, how did that happen? Oyashiro-sama. This is why we hate outsiders. They just don't think. They're just too stupid. Got what they deserved. It was their own fault. The angry old men yelled even as they trembled in fear. The sudden change scared me more than a little. Even Uncle Kimiyoshi, who was usually so gentle and sweet, became like a demon of war, cursing those who broke the rule at the ritual storehouse. It had become like a raging ocean inside the assembly. Those whales spun about like a whirlpool. They roared, crashed, and howled. Even while doing nothing but watch, I could feel myself turning pale. Mion threatened me yesterday, and Kasai had been shocked this morning. What I saw before me was similar to that. Even the sweet and gentle Uncle Kumiyoshi was saying they deserved to die. I was fearful of the sudden change in those elderly men. More than anything, the fact that they all believed that those people deserved to die for trespassing is what terrified me. Could be American with that attitude. It wasn't just that, of course. The real thing I was scared of was that I was one of the people they wanted dead. In other words, it was almost like they were telling me to die of the curse. They were to find out that I snuck into the ritual storehouse. It's very possible they would strangle me on the spot. Actually, they might not kill me that easily. By then, I was certain. The people in this room were true believers in Oyashiro-sama, just like the hag. They wouldn't hesitate to murder whoever made Oyashiro-sama angry on his behalf. Even if they didn't carry out the killing themselves, they would pretend they didn't see anything. Yes, not even if my head was cut off right in front of them. Everyone here would act in collusion and say I never attended today. If they all testified that they waited and I didn't show, I'd be demoned away. It'd be far too easy for them to erase someone and have them disappear. There was no mistake. The people linking the hag and the curse were definitely here in this meeting. I continued speaking. I was Mion Sanozaki. I was on the side responsible for the curse. Therefore, at that moment, I didn't need to worry about anything. Nobody could tell the difference between Mion and I. That's what would keep me safe. Sorry if I'm kind of dull in my reading, by the way. I'm really tired. It's been a really stressful week, so... And it's, been a stressful week and it's only fucking Thursday. At least tomorrow is Friday. I've just got so much to do and I don't know when I'm going to get it done. One slow step at a time, huh? Please, be silent. Hey, quiet down. Uncle Kumiyoshi helped me quiet everyone, but his tone was violent. He really scared me. Everyone gradually became silent. In fact, it was 4 people who snuck into the storehouse. 2 more remain. People once more became restless upon hearing that, but Uncle Kumiyoshi yelled at them again and they settled down. Miss Tomitake and Mr. Takano were old enough to be made responsible for their own poor judgment. As a result, the curse of Oyashiro-sama fell upon them immediately, but the other 2 were simply children. The curse has yet to fall upon them, but there will be some kind of punishment. Everyone stayed quiet that time. They'd all turned genuinely pale, trying not to miss a word I said. After, they were all thinking that the kids I mentioned could be their own relatives or even grandchildren. They wanted to know who they were, to put their minds at ease. The other 2 who stuck into the ritual storehouse were Shion Sanozaki and Keiichi Maebara. I could feel the air getting drier. It was so dry it almost felt like it was going to start making a crackling noise. Shion Sanozaki has already... I couldn't even hear the old people breathe. I took a peek at Uncle Kumiyoshi, who was sitting next to me. He'd adored Shion as if she were his own granddaughter, but she had been demoned away. I wanted to see how distressed and sad he'd look. And when I saw his face, I felt a sensation on my back as if my skin itself was making a cracking noise. He didn't even have an expression on his face. Uncle Kumiyoshi adored me. I loved him and I thought he loved me too. That was why I expected him to be saddened after learning that I met with such a cruel fate. What was I thinking? The memory of his warm smile shattered inside of me. There was no way of describing the fear I experienced in that moment. In mere words, he had suddenly changed into someone I didn't even recognize. Uncle Kumiyoshi noticed me looking at him and spoke. What about Keiichi Maebara? Not yet. I had to take a deep breath to regain my composure. All 4 who snuck into the ritual storehouse will suffer the curse of Oyashiro-sama. Keiichi Maebara is no exception. Chilling looks, cruel looks, emotionless looks, shrewd looks, and the looks of people who are about to snap. I could feel the demons chewing my words while they stared at me with their sharp eyes. I could see some of them sticking their snake-like tongues in and out. I could see flames in some of their eyes. They were memorizing the names of the intruder the curse had yet to fall upon. And so the meeting went on. We were told not to tell the police too much, to report what they asked us, and to hold another meeting whenever something of significance happened. If something unexpected took place, we were to get in touch with either the head of the Kumiyoshi family or the head of the Sanozaki family for instructions on what to do. With those closing remarks, the meeting was over. It was already getting dark outside. Being in a valley surrounded by mountains, once the sun went down in Hinamizawa, it got dark quickly. Even if it was hot during the day, it would cool down quickly at night. The elderly people said goodbye to each other and left on their bicycles, motorcycles, or cars. Uncle Kumiyoshi waved them goodbye and started to head home himself. I called out to him. Kimiyoshi, do you have plans after this? I called him Kimiyoshi, Mr. Kimiyoshi instead of Uncle Kimiyoshi. He stopped. No, I don't have anything planned. Can you stop by my house? Does Oreo want to see me? Yes, she wants to talk to you about something in person. Okay, I'll stop by. Uncle Kimiyoshi arrived at the Sonozaki house. He often came to the house to have secret meetings with the hag, so he wasn't suspicious at all. I invited Uncle Kimiyoshi into the living room. I served him a cup of cold tea and told him I was going to fetch the hag. I left the room and killed some time down the hallway. Granny will be here after she gets dressed. She might take a little while. Oh, that's okay. I'll just wait. Uncle Kimiyoshi relaxed as he sipped his cup of tea. I sat next to him. I think she wants to talk to you about Shion. I mentioned my name and watched for his reaction. Uncle Kimiyoshi looked grim. I couldn't even tell if he heard me. I decided to continue speaking until he reacted in some way. You remember the incident from last year with Shion, yes? She became friendly with people of the Hojo family. She was forgiven after ripping out her nails, wasn't she? Yes, 3 nails. Uncle Kimiyoshi folded his arms and thought for a while. Where is Shion now? In the basement. How is she doing? Uncle Kimiyoshi sounded worried. When I heard that, I felt relieved that Uncle Kimiyoshi was on my side. His anger in the assembly hall was just an act. She's been crying. Mion, tell me, what is Oreo going to do with Shion? She hasn't told me any details. As you know, Granny became awfully quiet when she's truly furious. Going into the ritual storehouse, huh? Furthermore, it's her own granddaughter. It's a tough decision to make. Uncle Kimiyoshi thought that the hag must be unsure of what to do with Shion. What do you think? What do you think will happen to Shion? Well, I'm sure it'll be far more than just 3 nails this time. Knowing how Oreo is, she won't hold back just because it's her granddaughter. Actually, she might be even more harsh, especially because they're related. Yes, she did go into the ritual storehouse. It's not something that can be forgiven so easily. Indeed, it's sacred after all. But in a way, maybe it's not fair to Shion. She has been away from Hinamizawa, as you know. I'm sure she knew she wasn't supposed to trespass in the storehouse, but maybe she didn't know how forbidden it was. It's true. Poor Shion. Other than the tattoo on my back, how would you tell the difference between Shion and me? There isn't one. There's no point in distinguishing between Mion and Shion in the first place. Twins are proof of bad luck. One should be eliminated as soon as they're born. Such is a family precept. The hag actually put her hands around my neck right after I came out of the womb. That's how the story went, at least. In the end, the hag didn't kill me, but instead pretended I didn't exist. She forced herself to call one of us Mion and the other Shion. She adored Mion and hated Shion. My sister and I never understood why we had to go through that. We didn't care who was Mion or Shion. So one day we came up with an idea. We decided to share the joy Mion experienced and the sadness Shion experienced. We often switched places. We were both Mion, and at the same time, we were both Shion. Adults around us tried to put different clothes on us or style our hair differently so they could tell us apart. It was nonsense. No matter what they did to us, all we had to do was switch places and nobody could tell us apart. Finally, they decided that we switched places because we were always together. On that day, Shion got to go to an amusement park. Since then, we've been separated. Mion. I can't even imagine what will happen to Shion. Whatever it is Granny decides to do, I'm not in a position to say anything. She doesn't listen to her relatives. You're right, that's something Oreo needs to work on. If Shion wasn't Shion Sonozaki, she would have been dead a long time ago. I can't even begin to imagine what kind of punishment might be equal to death. Even if she isn't killed, she'll probably never see the light of day again. In other words, she'll be demoned away. Mion, does Shion regret what she's done? Yes. In response, Uncle Kimiyoshi tapped my shoulder and then slapped his own chest. He smiled reliably. Don't worry. If Shion feels bad about what she's done, she won't be demoned away. Leave it to me. Really? I'm sure Royo will be furious to hear me say anything, but I won't give up. I'll explain to her that Shion regrets what she's done, and I'll beg her for forgiveness. Tears began to fall from my eyes. I knew it. Uncle Kimiyoshi was my ally after all. He said he would forgive Shion. He was my ally. So very happy. Are you sure? Are you sure she won't be demoned away like Satoshi Hojo was last year? Uncle Kimiyoshi smiled reliably again and told me. He was a brat of the Hojo family. This is Shion of the Sonozaki family we're talking about here. Of course she'll be forgiven. Huh? A brat of the Hojo family? You talking about Satoshi? Last year's victim? Oh, those Hojo people. They were traitors who tried to sell out the whole village. Of course he got demoned away. He was a Hojo after all. Huh? Huh? Fucking pardon? That's for all my friends who also watch Kurt's Corner. Fucking pardon? Hojo people should all be cursed. Only people like them get demoned away. Shion will be okay. It won't happen to someone like her. Uncle, didn't Shion take care of that for Satoshi last year? Wasn't he supposed to be forgiven? Take care of that? What do you mean? Remember? 3 nails. She removed 3 of her nails. Kasai, Uncle Yoshiro, and then Satoshi. 3 people. She removed 3 nails for 3 people. Eh? So that was why it was 3 nails, huh? Huh? What? Wasn't that the significance of those 3 nails? Yeah, you're right. There were 3 people involved, hence the 3 nails. I heard that too, but what? Kasai, Yoshiro, and Shion. That makes 3. What? Fucking pardon? Hey? What? Huh? What? I endured excruciating pain. The first one was my left pinky, then the ring finger, and then the middle finger. People held me down so I couldn't move, but I endured. I had to endure 3 nails. I didn't know which nail was for Satoshi. If my middle finger was for Satoshi, I'd have to endure until the middle finger was done so that Satoshi would be forgiven. That was why I endured. Even Mion said afterwards, everything was forgiven. Huh? Huh? Mion, didn't you say Satoshi was forgiven? Didn't you? That's what I heard. I think that's what I heard. Or did I? Eh? Eh? Huh? I felt the air move. There shouldn't have been a breeze in that room, but I felt it anyway. The cool air stroked the back of my neck. That was when my true self stood right behind me and nodded. Although there was no wind, my hair billowed. The burning wickedness buried deep inside my eyes became visible. Why do you think Satoshi Hojo got demoned away? Eh? Satoshi's parents did in fact try to sell out the village. They deserved the curse of Oyasho-sama. But Satoshi was simply their son. What has he done? Eh? Mion? I'm asking you what kind of crime Satoshi committed. You said earlier he deserved to be demoned away because he was born of the Hojo family. What has he done to deserve being demoned away? Kimiyoshi didn't know what to say to the third question. He seemed dismayed. Didn't hear her say it, but I know. It was Oryo Sanazaki's decision. She decided that the curse of Oyashiro-sama would fall upon all the Hojos. Wait, Mion, that's not true. Didn't she decide that? No, she didn't. The curse of Oyashiro-sama falling upon the Hojo family. I do remember talking about something like that, but we never decided that. Nobody did. Then why did you say because he was one of the Hojos earlier? Sorry, Mion. That was... I shouldn't have said that. I'm sorry. That's just it. Anything that happens to the Hojo family is the curse. As long as someone has the Hojo name, nobody cares what happens to that person. That idea is spread like a virus amongst all the villagers. It didn't matter if Satoshi did anything or not. Because he did to Hojo, he was filthy. That infection of an idea is the entire problem. And you all believed in that idea. You couldn't even think straight anymore. I can't forgive you. I can't let someone like you exist. People like you cornered Satoshi and his family. Poor Satoshi. What has he done? He hasn't done anything. He was a Hojo, that's all. What kind of crime is that? Why did the curse fall upon him? What crime has he committed? Ah! Kimiyoshi's upper body bent backwards and fell on the floor. That was that. I put my stun gun back in my pocket. I knew it was going to happen and it still got to me. Sorry, Shion. What was it that you just said? Apparently, Mr. Kano and Mr. Tomitake died last night. Mr. Kano was found burned to death. Tomitake was... well, it looked like a suicide. I found out this morning. I heard my father talking to a relative on the phone about it. As I thought, Keiichi didn't know anything about what happened after the festival last night. Of course, that's not getting reported by the media. That's how it was in the past too. Keiichi insisted that unless he heard about it on the news, it couldn't be real. But the investigations into the series of mysterious deaths are done in secret now. Of course he didn't hear about it on the news. I hear the mayor and several important politicians in the Sonozaki family put all the pressure they could on the police. Then you mean the deaths are going to be dealt with in total secrecy? That's how it is. Of course, the police are still investigating. That's being performed in secret too. So I hear the investigation itself is very restricted in what it can and can't do. Could essentially say they're interfering with the police investigation. Oh, I can't believe this. People died, and yet they're dealing with everything in secret. If you break it down further, it means that no matter who dies on the night of Watanagashi, it won't go public. That's the biggest pile of bullshit I've ever heard. Keiichi, Remember how I said before that the village could be the ones carrying out Oyashiro-sama's curse? That's what I mean. At some point, a tradition was created here in Hinamizawa, where every year you're allowed to kill someone on the night of Watanagashi. Yes, that's the truth about the series of mysterious deaths in Hinamizawa, also known as Oyashiro-sama's curse. On the day of Watanagashi, 2 people will be killed. The perpetrators are using the curse of Oyashiro-sama as an excuse to kill one victim and make another disappear. That's why the curse of Oyashiro-sama takes place. That's what happens in Hinamizawa, and that's what happens with the curse. What Kimiyoshi said is all true. Infecting everyone with the idea that the enemy from the dam conflict deserved to die was the root of all this. That was the system of vague commands used in the Sonozaki family, created by its head, Oryo. One thing that must be mentioned about that command system is that the person giving the orders and the one executing them didn't need to interact in any way. Though Oryo was the commander, she never gave actual orders. She only had to expect something to happen. Every single one of the family council members around her would want to satisfy that expectation if given the chance. They didn't have to be proactive about satisfying it. They could be passive too. But when the chance arose, anyone who knew Orio's intentions could potentially become the one to execute her orders. Therefore, Oryo would never know who actually executed her order, and none of the relatives knew it either. But they all knew things would conclude just as Oryo wanted, and they could assume it was one of their own who did it for her. This passive support system was thoroughly effective, and it spread all over the village. Its ties became even tighter after the dam conflict. Cool. Anyone could be the one to execute Orio's orders. Therefore, everyone supported each other. If someone did something, then the others would try to satisfy Orio's expectation in different ways. For example, they'd come up with false evidence or otherwise passively interfere with an investigation. Even if they didn't know exactly who they were protecting, they'd still work together to protect whoever it was. Yes, I finally figured out how it all worked. Phrased in a more organised manner, it would go as follows. The system of killing 2 people who were unwanted by the village each year required 3 elements. The first element was a region of solidarity. It was created during the long and unique history of Hinamizawa. The villagers' bonds became even tighter during the dam conflict. That was one of the conditions for this place to have a curse. It was an element that was already in the region, not one that could be created. The next element was having the same moral standards. This was a very important element, as the curse wouldn't have happened without it. Also, this element was created by Oyo Sonozaki herself, and that was why she could claim the system was established by her own will. Having the same moral standards meant that everyone everywhere acknowledges the same enemy. Even when everyone in the village joined together, it would be meaningless if they didn't know exactly who the enemy was. During the dam conflict, Oyo Sonozaki made the identity of the enemy very clear to everyone. They couldn't just say they were against the dam construction and that the government was their enemy. That wasn't clear enough. The government didn't really pinpoint who the enemy was. But Oryo made enemies out of the construction site itself, and therefore its manager. She chose targets that the villagers could see with their own eyes. They were clear and easy to understand. The villagers acknowledged that everyone at the dam construction site was their enemy, and the construction manager was the enemy combatant. Using the same method, she labelled one after another as enemy of the village, practically cataloguing a list of enemies to print into the villagers' minds. Earlier, I'd used the term infecting for this phenomenon. Those infected by this idea were the people unconsciously giving the orders to commit murder. When the infection spread across the village, when all of Hinamizawa's residents acknowledged the same enemy, that's when Hinamizawa itself became a murderer. Oryo combined these 2 elements, a solidary region and having the same moral standards, then selected the enemy and spread that notion throughout the village. The law would normally punish both the one who committed the crime and the one who gave the order, but Oryo's system didn't require an order at all. Oryo just had to become concerned about the enemy she'd pre-selected. But that alone wouldn't cause the curse to take place. Orio's concern was like a safety device, and even when the safety device was off, the curse wouldn't occur unless there was a finger to pull the trigger. The last necessary element was to set a date for execution. The night of Watanagashi. The night to venerate Oyashiro-sama, the guardian deity of Hinamizawa. On that night, the curse of Oyashiro-sama falls upon 2 enemies of the village and they disappear. Everyone in the village acknowledges that fact. In other words, if the same incident took place on any of the other 364 nights of the year, it would be nothing other than a murder case. But if it happened on the night of Watanagashi, then it would transform into the curse of Oyashiro-sama. The idea that villagers are allowed to kill their enemies on the night of Watanagashi had affected them. The villagers were the cells of this huge creature called Hinamizawa, and each cell would be taught who the enemy was. The set date was basically a green light for whoever was in the best position to kill the enemy. That was the truth of the curse of Oyashiro-sama. Therefore, the one who actually killed Satoshi isn't my enemy. The one who set up this murderous system, and the one who named Satoshi's family as my enemy, is my enemy. To use a broad definition, Hinamizawa itself and the very system of Oyashiro-sama's curse is my enemy. I already killed the hag, the one who designed the system. Kimiyoshi, the one whose job it was to infect the villagers with the system, was already in my hands. I just had to find out who else was involved and how much. I guess this explains the murderous rampage. I'm surprised at Satoko, but what do I know? But I guess she basically kills the 3 acting heads almost symbolically. Because it absolutely kneecaps the village if one were to do that. I got this candle and it is summer fruits. Exotic fruits. It's really nice. And I just wanted you to all to know that I have a nice candle, really. That was my main goal. It's a bit that's like bubbled, and I really want to pop it, but at the same time sticking my hand in warm wax seems like a terrible idea. Just had to find out who else was involved and how much. It was like pulling a weed while being very careful not to break its roots. I announced that Keiichi Maebara was one of the people who snuck into the shrine storage. I was certain that fact had already spread throughout the underside of the village. In other words, Keiichi Maebara was an object of the curse of Oyashiro-sama now. Mr. Kano and Mr. Tomitake were found dead, having been killed in gruesome ways. That was the curse of Oyashiro-sama. In that case, they could demon away 2 people as sacrifices to calm the anger of Oyashiro-sama. The set date for the curse was already over. But just like what happened to Satoshi, demoning away was allowed a little extra time. Aha! Something would happen to Keiichi Maebara within a few days. I'd wait patiently, careful not to let my enemy simply take Keiichi Maebara, my bait. Keiichi had been yelling on the other end of the phone for some time. He kept yelling that he didn't want to go into the ritual storehouse to begin with. He claimed he was simply invited by Mr. Kano and I. He shouldn't be in danger because of that, he said. He was feeling a sense of crisis and tension. This was going to work. The livelier the bait, the easier it is to spot. Why the hell did you do that? I didn't have anything to do with this. What will you do? What are you going to do, damn it? How are you going to take responsibility for this, huh? Huh? Hey, are you listening? Shut up. I've had enough of your pitiful tears. I hung up the phone. There was no point in talking to him when he got like that. Besides, I'd already achieved my goal, which was to make him realise the danger awaiting him. I took a deep breath, then called the house of the village chief. Hello? Kimiyoshi residence? This is Sanazaki. So? Did you find the mayor? Oh, it's you, Mion. We've been calling everyone, but no luck. We can't find him. I don't know who else to call. I wonder where he is. We've called a few places too, but nothing. I talked to Granny and she says we should have the youth group look for him. At this time of day? Besides, we aren't even sure if he's really missing. It's right after Watanagashi. She just thinks we should be cautious. If the youth group can't find him, we should call the police first thing in the morning. We'd rather not get the police involved unless we really have to, though. Did Toya say that? Yes. If you don't believe me, I'll have her get on the phone. Oh, no. I understand. Okay, we'll gather the youth group and look for him. If they can't find him, we'll call the police in the morning. Please call the leader of the youth group, then. I'll be right over in Granny's place. Thank you. I'll get everyone together right away. Okay. See you later. The youth group had gathered at the Furude Shrine. They were going to try and find the mayor. I also had to go in the absence of the hag. Just to be mean, I stopped by the underground torture room to let the mayor know that I was headed to the Furude Shrine to search for him. Incidentally, according to the tab on the keychain, this underground torture room was actually called the Underground Storehouse for Ritual Implements. This is the man who was yelling that whoever trespasses on the ritual storehouse should be killed. Although it was an underground storehouse, he was there now, atoning for what he had done. It was pretty ironic. Maybe I was the only one who felt that way, though. How are you doing, Uncle Kimiyoshi? Clink. Kimiyoshi didn't say a word, but he made a noise with the chain. Everyone is making such fuss because they can't find you. Your family called me, so I suggested they gather a youth group to look for you. I'm heading over there now. Was this mean or what? Kimiyoshi could only make noises with the chain. He couldn't even express any emotion other than anguish. Is the chain too short? Why don't I make it longer every time you give me an answer to a question? If it's even a little longer, you'll feel better. Kimiyoshi's hands were tied behind his back with a tight wire. He was wearing a leather collar with a chain, which was strapped tightly around his neck too. The collar's chain was on a pulley attached to the ceiling, with the chain pulling him up towards it. The chain was very short and pulled very tight. Kimiyoshi had to stand on tiptoes to be able to breathe. He'd been like that for almost an hour already. He was already exhausted. If I left him overnight, he'd probably end up hanging himself. Told me earlier that you didn't know, but I'll ask you one more time. Please, tell me anything you know about Satoshi Hojo. Oh, sorry, you can't even talk, can you? I'll loosen the chain a little bit while we chat, then. I turned the pulley just a little to loosen the chain that was pulling on Kimiyoshi's neck. Kimiyoshi's heels finally touched the ground, relieving the pressure on his muscles. I really don't know, Shion. I really don't. Do you even know if he's dead or alive? I really don't know anything. Well, I guess that's how the curse system of Hinamazawa works. It's possible you really don't know anything. Okay, then I'll change the question. As the head of the Kimiyoshi family, I'd like you to tell me what you think has happened to Satoshi. Is Satoshi dead or alive? Kimiyoshi didn't know what to say. If he said he didn't know, I'd tighten the chain and leave the room. That would be like a death sentence for him. But all I said was that I wanted him to speak as the head of the Kimiyoshi family. I didn't ask him to tell the truth, but he didn't know what to say to avoid souring my mood and to get me to loosen the chains around him. He was obviously trying to figure out how to make me extend the chain. I've heard a rumour that he may be alive. About him going to Tokyo on a bullet train, right? The police have seen him in Tokyo, or something like that. I wish he had told me that Satoshi had been witnessed getting on a bullet train heading to Tokyo at Nagoya Station. The police didn't know if that really happened, or what became of Satoshi after that. Therefore, this was simply a random assertion of Kimiyoshi's. Hey, head of the Kimiyoshi family. What would be the point in letting one of the cursed family members live after going through the trouble of making him disappear? I don't think there's any reason for that. Besides, who gave you this information? I was in close contact with Oishi for a while, but he never mentioned it to me. Uncle? Sorry. Oi. Okay. If you're just saying that to make me happy, it's not going to work. You know that, don't you? I reached for the pulley controlling the train around Kimiyoshi, and that act alone said to panicking as he feared the tightening once more. Sorry. I'm not trying to make you angry, Shion. I'm sorry. I don't have time for this. I'm simply asking you to help me look for Satoshi. That's all. I know that. I'll answer you. I took my hand off the pulley. Seeing that, Kimiyoshi began making loud groaning noises to try and show he was thinking hard. Be frank with me. Do you think he is alive or dead? Got that head of you. I think you shouldn't think he is alive. That figures. There was no point in letting him live, right? I agree with you. I really didn't mean anything too deep by it, but what I said truly scared Kimiyoshi. The police think he ran using the money he saved to buy Toko's birthday present, because he was the main suspect of his aunt's murder. What do you think about that? Well, I heard that the culprit was some kind of drug addict. What do you think about that? Maybe I shouldn't say this, but I believe Satoshi is the culprit. The drug addict was probably a decoy Grandma arranged. I've suspected as much. That guy appeared out of nowhere. I didn't understand it at the time. So he was a decoy. I'm pretty sure. Why do you think that, though? The police were investigating the case, and Satoshi was the primary suspect, wasn't he? If he was going to be demoned away, she didn't want the police to continue the investigation, I guess. Kimiyoshi just said it's very interesting. He's perfectly correct. If the police continued their investigation, it would complicate things for whoever demoned away Satoshi. That was my thinking as well, is that he was allowed to carry out the murder, but then they decided it was best to demon him away and put someone up in his place. Whether that demoning away means, like, actually, like, vanishing with a negative or positive end, one doesn't know. The hag came up with a decoy in order to bring an end to the investigation. But fabricating a suspect can't be that easy, don't you agree? The only person who can do things like that is Oreo. I knew Grandma was very powerful in the underside of Hinamizawa, but I never knew she was that powerful. I'm sure you've heard quite a few rumours during the dam conflict. Didn't you also hear things directly? During the dam protests, I actually saw them issuing orders to my relatives, like, destroy their heavy machinery, or can we set up a checkpoint to blockade their construction vehicles? They set free the comrades from the police by coming up with alibis, destroying or forging evidence. I'd seen relatives do those things, as well as the hag calling in councillors to the house to protest. As a child, I was pretty impressed. But when I thought back, it was more than that. She was truly the mastermind who controlled the underside of the world. You've heard about the kidnapping case of the grandson of the Minister of Construction, right? So it really was a kidnapping, huh? I heard the grandson was demoned away and then found in the middle of the mountains in Taketsuro or Yaguchi. That was at Orio's command. The minister promised to stop the dam construction and the grandson was released. All the top people in the ex-Guardians know that. I guess it was right in the middle of it when it was happening, but I did notice. The hag, the three families, and the ex-Guardians are truly magnificent, huh? How terrifying. Guardians are what we knew previously as the ODA, or, Onugafuchi Defense Alliance. Kimiyoshi finally realised the situation he was in, and he was answering my questions. That made me happy, but the more Kimiyoshi told me the truth, the more I realised Satoshi really was dead. That made me very sad. You actually demoned away Satoshi. I don't know. We were never to ask who actually executed Orio's orders. He was right. That was how the system worked, and so that was a bad question. Whoever it was did a great job, because his body hasn't been found. That's not easy. Putting aside who actually killed him, it is possible that Oreo has helped to get rid of the body. You know about the well farther down from here, the one used to dump bodies, don't you? Yeah, I do. It's a lot safer to dump a body in the well than to bury it somewhere in the mountains. Whoever disappears becomes a sacrifice to calm the anger of Oyashiro-sama. That was the rule of this game. Therefore, the bodies must never be discovered. I hate this phrase because from the deepest depths of my brain, Ding Dong Rumpus comes up and my brain goes, a body has been discovered. And the problem I have with Ding Dong Rumpus is that I never played it myself, I watched a playthrough of it. It's a fairly well written horror game. It's just that the fandom drove me absolutely bananas. Even after I knew what it was, I still had it I had Tumblr Blacklist or whatever it's called, the tag blocker. I used that because it drove me insane in the brain. The fandom did. So that's just a fun digression about my experience with the Ding Dong Rumpus fandom. And yes, it is an absolute requirement. I always call it Ding Dong Rumpus and never Danganronpa. Because I inevitably say Danganronpa, and that's just a weird, someone with an odd accent cheering on Ronka. Danganronpa. I am talking horseshit. I'm really sleepy, I'm sorry. Every time I think about how tired I am, I think about why I'm so tired. Fuck. And then I get stressed again. The bodies must never be discovered. That's why the bodies had to be dumped somewhere nobody could find them. It's very possible that the well was used for that. Then Satoshi is at the bottom of that well? I grabbed a flashlight and headed to the huge cave with all the cells. As I turned on the lights in the cave, Mio noticed me and gave me a worried look. I ignored her and headed to the cell in the back. I was still very impressed by how well the well was hidden. It was almost artistic. I shone the flashlight at the bottom of the well. I had no way of knowing how deep the well was. The light of the flashlight wasn't strong enough to reach the bottom. I inhaled, then screamed into the well. Satoshi! Satoshi! Satoshi's name echoed again and again. It was obviously a very deep well. I thought of climbing down using the wedges on the wall, but with a flashlight hanging from my neck, I couldn't light my footing up properly. And even if there was enough lighting, I didn't even know if the wedges were sturdy enough. It would be like committing suicide. Satoshi was at the bottom of this well. That's when I felt it. A warm hand rubbed my head, for sure. Shion, you finally found me. Satoshi. I've been looking for you for so long. I'm sorry I couldn't find you while you were still alive. Sorry. I'm sorry. It's not your fault, Shion. There was nothing you could have done before I was killed, but you did everything you could do after I was dead. Satoshi, I want to join you. I'm coming right now. I'm going to jump, so please catch me. Satoshi smiled bitterly. I was saddened to see him reject me. Shion, I'm happy you found me, but you're alive, Shion. It's so important to be alive. You can't waste it. If you aren't here, I don't want to live. I want to be with you, Satoshi. I want to be close to you. I want you to rub my head again. I want to spend time with you. I'll be a good girl. I want to be with you. Live. Do I have to? Live and enjoy your life, okay? What's so fun about living alone? You'll find out, so long as you're alive. To live. I will live. I will live. The eerie well now felt warm. I wasn't allowed to go down to the bottom, but the edge of this well was the place where you and I could meet. Mion, Satoshi, I found him. He's at the bottom of the well, isn't he? I think so. I can't think of anywhere else he'd be. Mion started to sob. You weren't there when Satoshi was killed, were you? No. If you were there, would you have begged Grandma to forgive him? Yes, I would have begged her to let him live. Liar. Eh? Liar! On that day, a year ago, I just recalled how cruel Mion was then, when she forced me to rip out my nails, acting in her role as the successor. Even if she was there when Satoshi was killed, she wouldn't have stopped being the successor. Satoshi was brought to the torture room. When he saw Mion, I'm sure he thought she would save him. Even as he heard the family head read out his death sentence, I'm sure he looked at Mion and believed that she would save him. He believed Mion was acting that way only because she was with her relatives. He believed she would help him, but she didn't do anything. He was strapped to a restraining device, yet she still wouldn't do anything. Mion was cruel. Mion, isn't it about time to help me? I see. I get it. You were the rest of the family members, so you can't even show a hint of compassion. That sucks. Help him! Help him! Why? Why didn't you help him? You saw him looking at you, begging you to help him, didn't you? Why didn't you help him? Even when he was going through a rough time because of his awful aunt, you still didn't help him. You pretended to sympathise, but you didn't help him. You ignored him. He was cornered because you didn't help him. I tried. I tried to support him. Even when you didn't protect him from killing his aunt, I did. I sacrificed myself to fight for him. 3 nails were nothing, but it wasn't enough to rescue Satoshi. I couldn't help him. Do you know why? Because I was Shion then. As Shion, I was kept away from Hinamizawa. Nobody told me anything. I couldn't know anything. But you were different. You were Mion. You were right in the middle of everything, and you knew everything, and everyone told you everything. If I were you, I could have helped Satoshi. I would have. But you were Mion. Give it back, Mion. That name isn't just yours. It's mine too. Besides, it was mine to begin with, remember? I just let you be Mion, remember? And it was mine. Give it back to me. Give me my name back. I can't stand that you even look like Mion. If I were Mion, then... Ah! I kicked the bars. I kicked them again and again. Mion curled up fearfully in the back of the cell, as if she were trying to prevent the bars from crashing down onto her. I guess... Achievement for this is tying your own noose. I guess... Let's call them Ponytail and Hair Down. Ponytail, whom we know as Mion, was born as Shion, and Hair Down, who we know as Shion, was born as Mion, and they swapped and they traded. But Hair Down was the OG Mion, and Hair Up was the OG Shion, and they were trading places, so Hair Down was being Shion, and I presume that's when she went to school, and that's when she sort of took on Shion as a full-time role. Maybe this tip will explain it. After that, I joined the youth group in the search for Kimiyoshi. I went down the town council's phone directory and called to see if he'd visited, then had the group split according to the circular notice divisions and sent them to search the town. Everybody seemed to be assuming they wouldn't find him, but since I knew they definitely never would, it was just bothersome to me. Even after midnight, they were all still enthusiastically looking for him. I bore the sleepiness while yawning. Then I heard someone whisper, "Last year, we did the same thing when Satoshi Hojo went missing." The youth group was looking for someone who would never be found, just like last year. I was yawning because I knew this. Last year, there must also have been some people who were yawning and grinning on the inside. When did we stop searching last year? Do you remember? When Satoshi Hojo was missing? Oh, what time was it? Guess that was around midnight. It's already 2 in the morning. Although they spent this much time searching for Kimiyoshi, they didn't do the same when Satoshi went missing. After all, some people knew they wouldn't find him. They must have been sleepy. They must have said they should leave it to the police. Shit. I want to kill the people who said that. Yikes! Yike-a-rini. Right. Let's go. I'm really sorry that I'm abruptly becoming very dead-voiced. I really am incredibly tired. There's a part of me that's like, finish stream now and go to bed, and then there's a larger part of me that's like, this is getting really good and I want to keep going. Okay, I'm awake. Blink self back into existence. What? Mion, you didn't get much sleep either, did you? Yeah, I went to bed at like 3. I'm a little tired. 3? Hey now, you can't keep staying up late. You probably read the first volume of a manga, thought it was interesting, then read the entire series, didn't you? I understand, I've done that before. Wait, what? Is it about the mayor? He still hasn't been found? Nope. I went to the Frude Shrine to join the youth group in the search for the mayor. Since I knew there was no way he'd be found, it was really boring for me. Just enjoying sleepiness wasn't that bad. Not if you consider what Kimiyoshi had to go through since last night. He'd been hanging from the ceiling and couldn't even fall asleep or sit down, since he had to stay on tiptoes the whole time. Good to know what happened to him, at least. The teacher explained to us that the mayor had gone missing and asked if we knew anything. A couple of people said some things, but they were irrelevant. To me, this issue meant nothing, but it was all my classmates were talking about. I'll be back in 2 seconds. I had some baby tomatoes I used to make dinner, but they're going to go off soon, so I'm going to crunch on them throughout. Maybe they'll give me a bit more energy. It was all my classmates were talking about. I observed Keiichi Maebara. I had no idea if any type of danger was drawing closer to him. Maybe I'd call him again tonight, pretending to be Shion. I told him some outrageous stuff last night, so he panicked. But I'm sure he'd calm down after a day. At that time, I heard little girls' laughter. It was Rika Frude, the last survivor of the Frude family and their current head. However, she wasn't really treated as one. During the family councils, she'd often draw pictures or take a nap in the house's bed. She wasn't even invited to last night's meeting. It was hard to believe such a little girl was responsible for part of the curse system. Even though she wasn't in a respected position as the head of the Frude family, there were plenty of old people who worshipped her as the reincarnation of Oyashiro-sama. I'd heard from someone that Rika Frude was rather odd. She is. She seems to have some sort of future-telling ability, and seemed to behave as if she knew she was that reincarnation. Maybe Mr. Kano had told me that at the library when she was alive. When Rika Frude became worried about something, the elderly people who worshipped her would make arrangements. It was very similar to the Sonozaki family, and it was also the same system as used for the curse. I wonder, does Rika Frude know anything about the deaths of Mr. Kano and Mr. Tomitake? What does she think of people sneaking into the ritual storehouse? Does she know who snuck in, and what happened to those people? As the one managing the storehouse, it was possible that she noticed the intruders first. In fact, she was the only one who could have noticed it. She must have passed on the information, which was why the curse was executed. That foolish Keiichi turned the light on when we went into the ritual storehouse. That light switch could have been connected to some kind of an alarm. Rika Frude, the leader of the Frude family. Maybe getting to know her would be a good idea. As the leader of the Frude family, how much do you know about the incident? I asked her rather directly. It was hard to tell if she understood that I was asking her in place of the Sonozaki family head, instead of as me on Sonozaki. You're talking about Tomitake and Takano? Rika answered. The news hadn't been made public, yet she knew about it. Although she looked immature, perhaps she truly was the head of the Frude family. That's the curse of Oyashiro-sama. I already know that. But it's not over yet, is it? There should still be 2 more. Have you heard about what will happen to them? I tried to be vague to see how Rika Frude would react. I'd been thinking she had nothing to do with the underside of Hinamizawa, since she was always treated like a child. I'm really sorry if you can hear me munching on the tomatoes, by the way. I love baby tomatoes. Baby tomatoes are one of my biggest vices. I could eat an entire box without pausing. I think it's just small versions of fruits. She was always treated like a child. However, Rika had just said things about the incident which normal people should know anything about. That proves she belonged to the Underside's network. I don't think that matters anymore. She answered the question about Tomitake and Takano fairly quickly, but took a little longer to answer this time. Did she have to think about it? Shit, the look on her face never changes. It's impossible to figure out what she's thinking. What do you mean? How can they get away with what they've done? Think if they feel bad about what they've done, that should be fine. Her response was unexpected, especially after seeing all the old people get so furious last night. To trespass in the ritual storehouse is blasphemy against Oyashiro-sama. villagers' elders had said those intruders deserved to die. But the leader of the Frude family, who protected the sacred storehouse with the ritual implements, said that if they felt remorse for it, then that was fine. Sorry, this comment made me chuckle. I recalled how people thought of Rika Frude's father during the dam conflicts. Yes, her father was called an opportunist back then. He didn't agree with the honor of future guardians who'd resisted violently during the conflict. Like father, like daughter. I aggressively grabbed Rika Frude by the collar. Huh? What the heck are you talking about? Pretty stupid. Just like your predecessor, aren't you? Frude family must understand better than anyone how sacred the ritual storehouse is. How could the head of that family say such a thing? I laughed at myself. I was told the same thing by someone else, and now I was saying it to Rika. Don't you know how serious a crime trespassing in the ritual storehouse is? It's a very important place for Oyashiro-sama, so nobody can go in without permission. See, you know that. But those poor people brought their filth in there. What bad kitty cats? Meow? That's right, bad cats. 2 cats have been caught and punished. There are 2 more. Meow? How do you think they should be punished? Tell me your opinion as the head of the Frude family. Rika really didn't usually wear any expression whatsoever, making it impossible to tell what she was thinking. But when I grabbed her by the collar and stared at her, I could tell somehow. Rika was a little disturbed. I sensed she was trying to see what I was thinking in turn. I want to forgive those 2 kitty cats. Why should they get away with what they've done? What are you trying to say? That's a good question, so let me explain. Those 2 must offer compensation for what they've done. They have to clear away their sins. Otherwise, Oyashiro-sama won't stop being angry. Every crime must be punished appropriately. Do you understand? Oyashiro-sama doesn't get angry even if someone enters the storehouse. Huh? What are you saying? The reason why nobody's allowed to see the ritual storehouse is because there are too many scary tools in there. I'm sure people would get scared if they saw them. That's why we don't let people in there. I'm sure those intruders were scared too, and I'm sure they feel bad about what they've done. They're forgiven once they feel bad about what they've done? That's not for you to decide. That's what Oyashiro-sama decides. I'm the shrine maiden of Oyashiro-sama, don't you know? Of course I do. You aren't telling me that Oyashiro-sama told you he isn't angry, are you? Rika nodded yes, without hesitation. Can't believe the lie she's coming up with. I'm not surprised, I'm shocked. Huh? That's why your parents started the curse 2 years ago. Oyashiro-sama's angry because they didn't deserve to serve him. That's why you cursed your father. Oyashiro-sama would never do that. My father didn't die because of the curse of Oyashiro-sama. Bah! Am I really talking to the shrine maiden of the Frude family? Obviously, Oyashiro-sama can't be at peace. The tomatoes have been consumed. And I was right, I do have more energy. You're supposed to worship Oyashiro-sama. How pathetic. I don't know why you're so angry, me. I realised. She was in a position to know as much as the other 2 family heads. As proof, she talked about this year's incident as though it was nothing. Yet she could feign ignorance with a serious face. Sure is something. She's even better than me. I slapped her a few times and pushed her to the floor. Rika, having tumbled downward, looked up at me with tears in her eyes. This all happened because you wanted to change the storehouse's lock to something that was easier for you, right? That's true. Pardon me, goodness, that was rude of me. The old one was too heavy, so I talked to Kimiyoshi and he changed it to a cheaper, lighter one. If he left the heavy lock on, maybe that would have prevented them from trespassing. This is your fault too. Don't you forget that. Of course, the Kimiyoshi family who actually changed the lock is responsible for this too. That last part was something I added on a whim. I added it to connect Rika's story to the disappearance of Kimiyoshi. I wanted to pressure her psychologically by doing so. Head of the Kimiyoshi family had to pay for his crime. That's why he disappeared. Head of the Frude family has to pay for her crime too, you know. Rika was still on the floor, tears pouring down her cheeks. Kichimebara is the last one left. Suppose the Frude family will take care of him. I don't know anything. You don't need to know anything, do you? You just have to look worried. That's all it takes. That's how it is our house too. Anyway, good luck. I don't... Rika hung her head. She seemed to want to say something, but she was afraid I might be rough with her again. I doubted Rika Frude was actually at the top of the curse system like the hag was. However, as one of the 3 family heads, she was a lot closer to the underside of Hinamizawa than I was. Might be about to sneeze again. By now, the underside was well aware of Keiichi Maebara. I told the elderly leaders of the village yesterday in the meeting that Keiichi Maebara was the last one remaining. I just told the head of the Furude family the same thing. Threateningly. Apparently, the next month is an optimal time to consider my empowerment. If my threat was effective, the curse of Oyashiro-sama should very soon fall upon Keiichi Maebara. And at just the right time, I would grab my enemy right as he took my bait. If the assassin came from the Furude family, this girl would have committed the same sin as the hag. When that time came, I wouldn't hold back. I was going to make sure she suffered and then kill her. I'd heard of a torture technique where you pound dozens of nails into a victim's fingers. Yikes! I already found a restraining table and the tools for it. Right, so her thinking is she's going to punish all of the heads because they're all equally as bad. When the time comes, I'll pound nails into your fingers. That gruesome anticipation radiated from my eyes and scared Rika even further. I wonder how Kimiyoshi is doing. I doubt he died from tiptoeing all night, but sometimes a human can go very easily. Rudy told me everything I wanted to hear, and he doesn't know anything else anyway. On top of that, he was responsible for spreading the infection that was the curse system for Yashiro-sama. His sins are very heavy. I really liked Uncle Kimiyoshi. He'd always been kind. The hag was so tough on her relatives, and that's why he was extra nice to me. When we talked yesterday, I was so happy to hear him say he would forgive Shion. He even said he would fight the hag to save her. That made me very happy. Don't worry, if Shion feels bad about what she's done, she won't be demoned away. Leave it to me. I felt such warmth inside of me. I almost shivered. I was so happy, yet so very sad. For he continued to say that Satoshi deserved to die. He said those nice things because he wanted to make me unhappy, since she was worried about Shion. Satoshi deserved to die because he was a member of the cursed Hojo family, but Shion of the Sonzaki family did not. That's what he meant. In other words, to the leaders of the village, including Kimiyoshi, members of the Hojo family are more contemptible than insects. They didn't care if they lived or died. The sin was not only that they despised the Hojo family so, but also that they let that hatred infect the rest of the village. Therefore, everyone in the village deserves to be a victim of the curse of Oyashiro-sama. Kimiyoshi and the others created an environment that excused murder in that name. If that was so, if Mr. Kano and Mr. Tomitake hadn't committed the serious crime of trespassing the ritual storehouse, then Stoko Hojo, the last survivor of the Hojo family, and Teppei Hojo, who had been hiding in Okonomiya, might have been the victims. He looks just as scummish as the artwork would insist. That makes sense, I guess. I did wonder about that. Huh. I wonder which way around it would have been. Stoko Hojo. She was always around Satoshi. She expected Satoshi to help her every time she cried. She was one of the people who cornered him. If Stoko wasn't that much of a burden, Satoshi wouldn't have killed his aunt. It made me jump. Somebody told Satoshi to commit that murder, and to hide the evidence of a connection to the mastermind, Satoshi was demoned away. That's what Oishi thought. If Satoshi hadn't killed his aunt, maybe he wouldn't have been chosen as last year's victim. Because the commands were vague, after all, the curse of Oyashiro-sama fell upon the Hojo family as a whole. It didn't matter which member of the family died. His aunt had a terrible reputation in the neighbourhood. She didn't communicate with her neighbours, she was always throwing fits, and there was nothing nice about her in any way. Even if Satoshi didn't kill her, the curse would have fallen upon her sooner or later. Their aunt was the first victim. There needed to be another Hojo to calm the curse. According to a rumour, their uncle was living somewhere in Okonomiya with his lover. However, Okonomiya was a little different from Hinamizawa. The Sonozaki family was powerful there as well, of course, but it would have been more difficult in Okonomiya to demon someone away. So naturally, Satoshi and Stoko, who were still in Hinamizawa, became the targets. Which one should be cursed? That was simple. Satoko, of course. She was snobby and lacking in manners. Everyone in the neighbourhood liked Satoshi. Even if he was the son of the Hojo couple who betrayed the village during the dam conflict, compared to Satoko, he didn't deserve to die. Therefore, the actual victims of last year's curse should have been his aunt and Satoko. Satoshi was suddenly all alone. His mean aunt and mean uncle were gone. His sister, who was a burden to him all his life, was gone too. Satoshi was such a nice person. He'd be sad, although he'd realise he was finally free. But time would heal him. He didn't have to live in his house in Hinamizawa. There were plenty of empty rooms in the apartment block where I lived. I could find him a part-time job too. He didn't need to go to school in Hinamizawa. He could go to school with me in Okonomiya instead. He wouldn't know his way around or really anything about the school there, so I'd be with Satoshi all the time. I'd show him a shortcut to school, we'd go shopping, and I'd teach him many different things. What an unbelievably happy ending. Satoshi had been suffering so much, and I'd been pushed away all my life, but we'd finally be happy. I enjoyed these sweet delusions, but I didn't have any more time to waste. I was sure there were plenty of old people who'd been trying to get hold of Oreo all morning, and who were going to try and catch me after I got home from school. Actually, the phone had been ringing constantly while I enjoyed my happy thoughts. When I answered the phone, I casually listened and replied. As I planned, Keiichi Maebara is now known as the next curse victim within the underside of Hinamizawa. I also tried to let them know that the disappearance of the village chief had something to do with the fact he changed the lock on the ritual storehouse's door. All the authorities in the underside came to realise the seriousness of trespassing in the storehouse. After all, one of the heads of the three families got punished. One of the phone calls was from Oishi. He'd also heard about Kimiyoshi's disappearance, and he knew it had something to do with the changing of the lock. I'm impressed. He has some pretty good sources, but all he can do is catch whatever information he can get. There's no way for him to find out where it's coming from. I call Keiichi Maebara again tonight. Some of the more aggressive villagers may have already started to take action around him. I'm sure that by now, Keiichi is feeling the danger that's coming towards him. I'd have to be careful that he doesn't get killed easily. If I can catch the enemy before they bit Keiichi, I can use him again as bait. Keiichi Maebara. I haven't known him for that long. He's funny, if not intelligent. He'll never replace Satoshi, but I do think he's fun to be around. There's just one thing I don't like about him. He rubs my head far too often. His hand is as warm as Toshi's, which is why I can't stand it. But that's about it. Keiichi Maebara isn't Satoshi's enemy. I don't hate him. If anything, he's sort of Satoshi's successor. He's fun to be around. But I wouldn't shed a tear for him if he became a victim of the curse. I won't prevent Keiichi Maebara from being killed, but I won't kill him myself either. I made arrangements for the curse to fall upon him, but I never told anyone to kill him. Well, I suppose I did tell Rika Furude to take care of Keiichi Maebara. Wait a minute. To avenge Satoshi, I'm doing exactly the same thing as the hag did. I'm using the exact same system that killed Satoshi. Keiichi Maebara, I'm just using him. I told people to let the curse fall upon Keiichi, but I've been giving him appropriate warnings. I'm going to help him if he tries to live. If I catch all of my enemies, maybe I'll let him loose. He's different from Satoshi. Satoshi was tricked into killing his aunt and was killed himself afterwards, so there wouldn't be any evidence remaining. I won't kill Keiichi Maebara. That's how I'm different from the hag. Evening was turning into night. I had to get dinner ready. I had to eat so I'd have enough strength to take revenge. This place was far from town. It would even get isolated during winter because of the snow. It's not unusual for a household like this to have 2 or 3 refrigerators. There were plenty of groceries left in them. I was glad I didn't have to go grocery shopping. I could hear the chorus of the Higurashi. People often say the sound of the Higurashi brings back memories, but for me it's the exact opposite. I've only ever heard the sound of the Higurashi in Hinamizawa. Therefore, the sound of the Higurashi to me is Hinamizawa. The sound reminded me that I wasn't supposed to be here, that I couldn't be here. That was when I heard the doorbell. Because there was a good distance between the house and the gate, there was both a doorbell and an intercom via the latter. It had a security camera too. Something as modern as a security camera monitor in this old-fashioned kitchen looked strange. I turned the switch, but nothing appeared on the monitor. I tried to check the plug, but there were a bunch of cords going behind the refrigerator, so I couldn't even do that. The doorbell continued to ring while I tried to figure out if the monitor was broken, or if I just didn't know how to turn it on. I only felt like answering the door depending on who it was. It'd normally be easier to pretend to be out, but that wouldn't help me. I was waiting for my enemies to show up. I couldn't just hide myself in that case. The hag was supposed to be sick and in an extremely bad mood. I'd already sent word out that she didn't want to see anyone. So who could it be? I made up my mind and turned the intercom on. If it was someone unwanted, I could just turn whoever it was away. but I had to act normally so I wouldn't arouse suspicion. I had to act normally. Yes? Who is it? Hello? She didn't tell me her name, but I recognised her voice. Rika, what are you doing here, at this time of day? I ran out of soy sauce, so could you share some with me? Soy sauce? I almost screamed, but I controlled myself. I took a moment to think about the situation. Hinamizawa was far from most doors, so sometimes neighbours would share seasoning and stuff with each other. The village sometimes got snowed in during winter, but the Frude Shrine was quite far from this house. It was rather odd for her to come all the way here on a bicycle just to get some soy sauce. Maybe she was using it as an excuse. Maybe there was something she wanted to talk to me about. That was when I noticed a piece of paper that was on the refrigerator door next to the intercom. We still have plenty of homemade soy sauce in stock. Feel free to come to the Sonozaki house if you want some. The hag must have given that flyer to everyone. One of her relatives sent her a barrel of soy sauce. If you want some, bring a container. That's what the flyer said. I see. This would explain it. There was a handwritten note on the bottom of the flyer. The soy sauce is in the storage area under the floor. Give them as much as they want. There was a storage area beneath the floor, as you just said. I saw a barrel of soy sauce alongside a funnel and a ladle. I didn't want Rika to notice anything suspicious at this point. I decided to share the soy sauce with her. Sure. Did you bring a container? I brought a soy sauce bottle. Okay, come on in. I'll be at the front door. As I headed her, I heard the doorbell ring again. The gate is locked from the inside. I can't open it. Ah, that's right. Sorry, I'll be right there. Just hang on. People didn't pay much attention to safety around here in Hamazawa. People didn't think too much about locking the doors. Crazy talk! I lock my door the second I get back into my flat. I double lock it, and I double check my fire escape door before I go to bed as well. On the one hand, it's not much of a fire escape door if it's locked. But on the other hand, lock your fucking doors, folks. It doesn't matter if you're in an apartment, lock your fucking doors. But as someone who's lived in a town, I've always locked everything. Same here. That's the thing. Sorry for the crash there. What on earth was that? What I was going to say was, yeah, I grew up in northwest London, so always locked doors. To let Rika Frude in, I'd have to go outside. Good evening. Good evening. Rika smiled at me. She was holding a huge soy sauce bottle. She acted like I never yelled at her, got violent with her, or made her cry at all today. Perhaps she came to curry favour, thinking she angered me. I invited Rika to the front door. I told her to wait for a moment and try to take the bottle, but Rika took her shoes off and walked into the house with the bottle in her hands. Don't worry, I'll get it for you. Why don't you wait in there? I'm pretty good at pouring soy sauce into a funnel, you know? She looked at me as if begging. I guess she wanted to pour the soy sauce into the bottle herself. I didn't want her to come in the house, but I suppose I didn't want her to wait there alone either. She came to the kitchen with me, I could keep my eyes on her. And so I brought Rika to the kitchen. We walked down the hallway. I only heard my footsteps. I stopped suddenly and turned around to make sure Rika was following me. Rika bumped into me. Sorry. I made sure she was right behind me and started to walk again. Tap, tap, tap. Tip, tip, tip. Tap, tap. Tip, tip. Rika must have been having fun matching her footsteps to mine. Even when I quickly sped up, our footsteps matched perfectly. Tap, 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 tap. Tip, 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 tip. Tap, tap, tap. I stopped suddenly. Tip, 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 tip. Rika stopped suddenly too after taking an extra step. When I turned around, Rika smiled at me. Our footsteps matched perfectly, and when I stopped suddenly, I heard her extra footstep. I've experienced such footsteps before. It was making me feel uncomfortable. Makes me fucking uncomfortable too. I genuinely, no word of a lie, I hate the extra footstep. For me, it is one of the scariest things in this game. But now, although her footsteps sounded the same as the other ones I'd experienced, I saw her when I turned around. That was the difference between them. I let the storage door open so we could see the soy sauce barrel. The memo said she can take as much as she wants, but I wasn't sure there was enough left. I crouched down and tried to open the lid of the soy sauce barrel. Even when I crouched down, I could hear Rika's extra step. Good, there's plenty left. Take as much as you want. When I turned around, Rika was very close to me. But, who was this? I saw Rika, but it wasn't Rika at all. It was like when I switched with my sister. The outside was the same, but the inside was different. Did Rika have a twin sister? I was confused for a moment. That was when Rika sprayed something from a small bottle into my eyes. Huh? Rika fucking pepper sprayed us! The fuck? Christ alive! I felt a terrible pain in my eyes as suddenly tears poured out and my nose started to run. I couldn't stop sneezing either. As I stumbled around covering my face, I then realised I was attacked. I shut my eyes tightly for a moment, then opened them again. Rika was about to grab my hair to drag me down onto the floor. When Rika saw me open my eyes, she sprayed me again. I shut my eyes to avoid the spray, but my nose still breathed in the substance. I'd avoided the pain in my eyes, but the tears, the runny nose, and the sneezing continued. Shit. My brain isn't working quickly enough. However, when I finally understood that I'd been attacked by Rika Frude, my brain started to grind into motion. Rika Frude knocked me on my back and got on top of me. I tried to escape from her by rolling onto the kitchen floor. As I rolled, I hit an oven, a huge jar, and destroyed a pile of something on the floor as I fought back. But Rika didn't let go of me. She stayed on top and restrained me. She was sitting on my stomach and I felt intense pain and pressure. She sure could fight well. I still couldn't see anything. Rika had the upper hand, my eyes were shut and I was in real danger. As I tried to blink, I saw Rika's expression. I didn't know Rika Frude all that well. I only knew her from the few times we met when I went to school as Shion and from the things I've heard from other people. But as far as I knew, there was no way Rika Frude would ever do something like this. This is just impossible. Impossible. No, I can't fill my head with that word. I have to calm down and figure out what to do next. Ah, shit, I'm too much of a mess to even think. I tried to peek at her face again. She still had the spray bottle in one hand. What I didn't expect was the thing in her other hand. How could I mistake it for anything else? It's definitely a syringe. Rika's the one! I'm shook. I'm genuinely shook. I can't believe that. I cannot believe that Rika's the one with the syringe. That is crazy talk. I was wondering about that. I suspected Mion because it felt like a Mion thing to do, but I suppose you've got Mion with the torture devices, Reina with a hatchet, Rika with a syringe, and then Toko with a baseball bat. When Rika realised I'd regained my eyesight, she pointed the spray bottle right at me and let loose with it. I shut my eyes tightly and tried to ignore the pain, but that was when, even though I was blinded, Rika made a miscalculation. She sprayed me from such close distance that she inhaled the substance as well. I heard Rika sneeze and realised that was my chance. Even if I couldn't see, I knew she was right here. I hit Rika's face a few times. When I felt Rika's weight shift, I escaped. I then got my stun gun ready. Rika must have inhaled just a little of the spray. She wasn't sneezing anymore and was glaring at me instead. Hey, you picking a fight with me? You want me to wreck you? Rika's expression just changed, but I'm sure she was disappointed that her surprise attack was a failure. Rika flinched just a little, but she was still holding the spray bottle and aiming it at my eyes. She was trying to use the spray first, and then give me a shot. I didn't know what was in that syringe, but it was a clear liquid. It had to be something bad. She wanted to take my eyesight, get on top of me, and then give me the shot. If whatever was in the syringe took a while to take effect, I might have the chance to fight back and seriously injure Rika. But Rika's surprise attack told me that just being injected was more than enough. In other words, whatever the effect, it would start to work immediately. Therefore, I wouldn't be able to fight back against her. It'd probably either knock me out or kill me. In any case, what I had was equally deadly. My stun gun was very powerful. Just one shot would be all it took. What happened before was proof of its power. Rika knew my stun gun was a lot more powerful than her spray. She was being extremely cautious. Hey, what do you think you're doing in my house, huh? If you aren't moving, then I'll come to you. I threw a pile of newspapers at her. The pile wasn't tied together, so the newspapers flew all over Rika. I jumped at her immediately after. I shoved my stun gun into her and pulled the trigger. Rika spasmed and fell to the floor. You fool! Hesitating in a fight where a single blow wins. Only amateurs just glare at each other. You don't have a single clue about how advantageous the first strike is when a single blow can decide everything. The spray bottle rolled around on the ground, but she still had the syringe. Rika was down, but I couldn't let my guard down either. I kicked her in the side and clambered on top of her. I took the syringe. I held Rika's arm down and gave her the shot. My actions could hardly be called gentle. I injected her violently. I injected everything that was in the syringe. Rika began to convulse. I stood back and watched what would happen to her body. Of course, I still had my guard up. While I assumed the drug would incapacitate her immediately, I didn't know exactly what kind of reaction she would have. Ha! Look at you! Did you really think you could defeat me? Think again! After a few more convulsions, Rika unsteadily got to her feet. That's ridiculous. How could you even stand? I looked at my stun gun. Damn it! Power's on the lowest setting. Maybe it had been readjusted when we were rolling around on the floor. I changed the setting to maximum. Rika turned pale and started sweating all over. I didn't know its exact effects, but if Rika had given me the shot, I'd be the one experiencing the symptoms. She looked really sick, so obviously she must have been feeling awful too. She couldn't even focus. She was very wobbly and had her hand on the wall. She lost her balance and it must have been hard for her to even stand. She didn't look so brave anymore. Rika wobbled some more and moaned as if she was about to throw up. And you... Rika looked scary as she moaned and wobbled, but at the same time she looked kind of funny too. Certainly she hadn't even dreamed she'd be getting the shot herself. As the man sows, so shall he reap. That's what you get. This is funny. So funny. But please don't throw up here. Go to the bathroom, okay? I'm going to enjoy how long it'll take for you to die. Ah, but that means I can't talk to you later, huh? I'm planning to use a nail table on you. So either you choke on your own vomit and die, or I pound nails into all 10 of your fingers. I wonder which it'll be. Okay, I know. Let's move to the underground shrine storage. I'll put you to sleep so I can move you there, okay? I walked up to Rika, my stun gun making popping sounds. When Rika saw the spikes fly from the stun gun, she moved to grab a huge kitchen knife. Were you still trying to fight? That makes things more fun. I have so much I want to ask you. I suggest you back down. Well, actually, even if you do, you'll go through the same misery anyway. Sorry, but I refuse that invitation, you torturer maniac. What she said isn't anything I'd expected to hear from the Rika I knew. But I didn't hesitate. I had the advantage, so I didn't need to worry. Besides, this is coming from the last survivor of the Higurashi family, one of the 3 families. That sudden change somehow felt natural. Compared to what the 3 families have done, this is nothing. Thank you for the high praise, though. Should be proud of myself, huh? So, you seriously thinking about fighting me with a knife in that condition? You can't even stand straight. You're right. Like you said, I'm at my limit. But if that means getting captured and tortured to death by you, then sorry, I'm taking my leave. Taking your leave? Ha! Try it if you can. It was clear who held the advantage here, but despite that, an odd thrill filled the both of us. We lost our minds wasn't a fitting phrase for the people of Hinamizawa. It was a feeling of release when modern demons could stop pretending to be human. Yes, this was a mad banquet of demons, with the savouring of blood and devouring of flesh. Attended by the head of the Fude family and the head of the Sonozaki family, the old families whose blood is closer to the madness of the demons. I stood in front of the hallway so as to block her as a prude. The windows had grates and the door had a safety chain on it. If she turned around, I'd hit her with my stun gun. In this situation, what did Rika Fude mean taking her leave? Rika got her knife ready. I expected her to aim at my stomach when I attached. I expected her to aim at my stomach when she attacked, so I took a stance with my stun gun ready in my hand. Rika, however, suddenly turned around. I carefully watched to see what her next move would be. Rika put the handle of the knife to the wall and held it in place. What was she doing? Goodbye, torture maniac. I won't give you the satisfaction of killing me. Whoa. Rika reared her head back and slammed her throat against the knife on the wall. I just cringed IRL. Her blood spattered all over. Rika bent backwards repeatedly and let the knife slash at her throat. again and again. Her neck and chest were dyed red. I'd always thought blood was darker, but her blood wasn't dark. It was so bright. I must have been confused, but it looked pretty. After doing this several times, Rika turned around. Her eyes were wide open. She didn't look like she was from this world. Her face looked like something both living and dead, ouch, both real and artificial. It was very scary, eerie, and above all else, pale. Although her face looked unearthly, it was an appropriate face for a demon. I didn't have a mirror, so I couldn't tell, but I was sure I looked exactly like her. Rika continued to violently slash her throat. It reminded me of someone trying to break a huge piece of ice with an ice pick. This was exactly what Rika looked like. 3 white chips of ice coolly flew through the air. What I saw before me was a beautiful sight. Every time Rika struck her throat, tiny drops of red blood splattered the boring white world around her. It was like a dance. A dedication dance by the final head of the Furude family. The demon's last dance of dedication to Oyashiro-sama. Upon seeing that literally bird-cuddling dance, I let out a fierce roar. I had no reason to do so. I was howling like an animal. We were like animals trying to kill each other, both getting covered in blood. As a demon I roared, but as a human I sneered. Rika was covered in blood from her neck down. A quick save, just in case. Her blood was pouring out, making a little noise. Rika was still staring into my eyes. I stared back at her. I wasn't sure they were still eyes, though. They were no longer human eyes, but the eyes of the dead. If this game shows me the eyes, I will walk into the ocean. Rika. No, Rika's corpse vomited blood from her mouth and nose and smiled. Then she dropped the knife. She stuck her hands out and turned her palms upward. Her wiggling fingers reminded me of an insect's legs. Those fingers reached for her own throat. I'd never seen anything like it. I'd never seen anyone do this before. Because Rika was scratching her own throat. She was ripping her... Rika was following in Tomitake's footsteps. Maybe that wasn't even a good description. She was trying to rip out the inside through the... If you are listening and not watching this, I'm going to ask you to tab back into this video and read that, because I am not comfortable reading that out loud, because it grosses me out so badly to think about. Her fingers found the biggest. She smiled. At least that's what I would have called it if she were alive. She grabbed it in one tug. Upon hearing my scream, Rika died and fell on her face, into the pool of blood. That was it. She didn't get up again to show me her throat. I stepped back from Rika Furude's body and bumped into the wall in the hallway. I roared again in admiration of the ritual dance of dedication of the head of the Furude family. Oh god, Jesus Christ, god, it's so gross. Oh, it makes me cringe so much. Joy ran through my body and my blood rushed through my veins. I won! I defeated her! Ha! Then realised I disposed of the heads of the 3 families, the core of the curse of Oyashiro-sama. Everything was finally exposed. The curse of Oyashiro-sama and its masterminds were all exposed. I disposed of the leaders of the 3 families, who all killed Satoshi. The head of the Sonozaki family died of a heart attack. She was at the bottom of the well, along with a wheelchair. I apprehended the head of the Kimiyoshi family. He continued to tiptoe until he died. The head of the Furude family died in a way that was perfect for the final head of the 3 families of Onigafuchi. I did it. I accomplished my mission. I defeated all the masterminds who killed Satoshi with a curse. Everyone. Satoshi, you were powerless. You didn't have the means to fight back. Those evil people simply sneered while they let you die, after marking you as a member of the cursed Hojo family. I will never, ever forgive them. They believed you deserved to die because you were one of the Hojos. As long as it was done by the curse of Oyashiro-sama, they didn't care how you were killed. I'll never forgive those people for creating this world. What could I have done to save you, Satoshi? I couldn't save you. Shion Sonozaki couldn't do anything else at this time. If I was Mion, not Shion. If I was Mion that day, I could have saved you. Mion could have saved you. That's right, I remember now. Shion. She said she wanted to eat red snapper sashimi that day. I was supposed to eat that, but Shion pouted and cried. That was why I let her switch, just for the night. I did it to make her happy, like a big sister would. Shion was never treated well, so I felt bad. That was it. I was being a good sister, that was it. When morning came, the world had been turned upside down, and it had remained so until today. We weren't twins anymore. The one with the demon was Mion, and the one without the demon was Shion. What was that supposed to mean? Wait, Mum, listen. I'm Mion, not her. You can tell us apart, right, Mum? Look, can't you tell I'm Mion? Come on, everyone, tell me I'm Mion. I'm Mion. Don't call me Shion. I'm Mion, I am. Then I realised. You knew, didn't you? That the relatives weren't gathering for a simple party that night. You knew! No, I didn't. I really didn't know. Huh? How can you say that? You were so persistent that day. You said you'd never eaten red snapper before, so you really wanted to try it. You never gave up asking me. I really didn't know. I didn't know. If I had known, I wouldn't have said that. Oh, sure. You're always jealous of me. Always looking at me with those foxy eyes. That was why I switched with you every once in a while. But you weren't satisfied with just that. You became even more jealous. And that night, you knew what was going on and took Mion from me. You took Mion from me. Give Mion back. I'm the one who's Mion. I'm Mion Sonozaki. You were Shion this whole time. Don't call yourself Mion, you imposter. I kicked the bars of the cell repeatedly while I roared. Compared to my roar, the metallic noise of the bars sounded like the cry of a little puppy. I'd been convinced by something so stupid. The tattoo of the demon was just a way of telling us apart. Even without that tattoo, I am Mion. That's right, I am Mion Sonozaki. I gathered my hair and pulled it in a ponytail with the yellow band that Mion used all the time. Since I didn't feel my hair on my neck, I felt like I could think more clearly now. Two Mions looked at each other through the iron bars. According to our sibling rules, that was never to happen. Yes, there was only one Mion and one Shion. There could never be two of either at the same time. Shion, let your hair down. I am Mion and Mion is here. You were never Mion. So don't pretend to be me ever again, do you hear? I said, do you hear? If you do, answer me. Answer me, Shion. I wonder if, this is real, or if, hair down convinced herself that she was hair up. You think, in terms of the actual physical body, the demon tattoo would be the way to tell, but I took myself back on this day. Shion admitted she was Shion. How wonderful it is to be Mion. Feel great. Can think clearly now, because after all, Mion is capable of anything, unlike you, Shion. How dare you pretend to be Mion? Do you have any idea? Huh, Shion? Yes, sis. Shion called me sis, and so I was Mion. Ha! The demon who had been asleep deep inside of me was finally allowed to wake up. The demon roared and my whole body shivered to express its joy. Shion, you committed a great sin. You were Mion until now. You were in a powerful position as Mion of the Sonozaki family, yet you didn't even try to rescue Satoshi. You had millions of chances to save him, but you chose not to do anything. I won't forgive you. I'll never forgive you. I could have saved Satoshi. You took him from me and you killed him. I'll never forgive you for that. Shion was shaking on the other side of the bars. I will kill you. I'll kill you in the best possible way. Right, I've given up. I'm referring to them. We've got 1 and 2. And 1 is the person who we've been playing as all this time, and 2 is the person we've not been playing as. And regardless of which one is Mion and which one is Shion, which one has the demon tattoo, which one doesn't, which one's older, which one's younger, it doesn't matter. To differentiate them, what I wonder is... So the two options we're presented with here is that you have 1 and 2, and 1 has the demon tattoo, and is the heir, and 2 is the younger and is not the heir. And the options are that 1 and 2 swapped places amongst their family the whole time, completely accidentally, although 1 believes it's on purpose. The day that it was decided to take 2 away, they'd swap bodies, so 1 was pretending, 1 had taken on the role of Shion. Did I say swap bodies? So 1 was Shion and 2 was Mion, and 1 is now convinced that 2 knew this, although 2 says that she didn't. So that's option 1, is it was an honest mistake, and then from that it was impossible to swap back permanently, due to the different way their lives have progressed. Or option number 2, option number B, I perhaps say, is that the person we've been playing as, Shion, is in fact number... Oh, now I've confused myself. Shion is in fact number 2, but she has convinced herself that she was number 1, Mion, Dragon Tattoo, and so she should be the heir and not have had her life ruined. I will kill you. I'll kill you in the best possible way. Starting today, I'm going to think of the best, most gruesome way to kill you. Shion, you better spend every minute fearing what's coming to you. I won't just kill you. I'll make sure your death is long and miserable. And after you're dead, I'll throw you in the well. You better apologise to Satoshi when you get there. This is what you get for pretending to be me. Do you hear me? That's your sin. Ah. Ah. Probably sounds more like yelling than a satisfied ah, but... I needed to at least clean up the kitchen. When I was putting old newspapers on the floor to absorb the blood, the phone rang. I didn't want to answer, but maybe I should. I should answer it and talk to whoever it was. Hello, this is the Sonozaki residence. Thank you for answering. This is Hojo calling. Surprised to hear the Hojo name, but I realised right away that it was Toko. Oh, Satoko? What's the matter? Sorry to call so late. Is Rika not there with you? Ah, yes. Ever since Toko Hojo was abandoned, she'd been living with Rika Furude. Of course she gets suspicious that Rika hadn't returned yet. Oh yeah, she's here. Oh, she's still there? It's long past dinner time. Hey, Satoko, I made too much dinner tonight, so I told Rika to eat here with me. Eh? Is that so? Oh, why don't you come over too? I have plenty of food left. Rika's already started eating. Oh, Rika. Alright, I'll clean up a little and then head out. See you shortly. Okay, I'll be here. See ya. Click. I think I'm going to finish this chapter. That's what I'm going to do. Or do I want to leave it on this cliffhanger? And then it was time for a spooky moon. Keiichi, I've been calling your name for a while. You have a phone call. It's from Sonozaki? Sonozaki? Which one? The older sister or the younger one? Oh, I don't know. Ask her yourself. Hello? Mion? Or is it Shion? It's me. It's Shion. Good evening. Shion, sorry about last night. I got all riled up. He must have been worried about how I hung up the phone so suddenly last night. We're tied to the same fate. Making sure the other is alright is the only way to guarantee our own safety. Yeah, I agree. We absolutely need to share whatever information we have, so that we don't die like Mr. Kano and Mr. Tomitake did. Cool. I heard Keiichi swallow loudly. Then, let's continue from where we left off. You'll listen without getting angry this time, right? Yeah, I'll be fine. Keiichi agreed to be quiet and listen. I explained the dangerous situation Keiichi was in once again. Just like how some evil people in the village attacked Mr. Kano and Mr. Tomitake, they might attack us any day. It was ironic, of course, that while I was warning him, I was also the one who was making sure the curse was called full upon him. Let's report anything we notice seems strange. If we connect all the tiny pieces we have, then just maybe we'll find out who killed them. Maybe even the truth behind the incidents of the past few years. Ah, you're right. You're right about that. Then I'll start, since I suggested it. I feel like somebody has been watching me lately. What? I was making this up. I just wanted him to realise how urgent the situation was. Might be my imagination, but I'll tell you anyway. I think it's just me, but if you feel like you're being watched too, Keiichi, then maybe it's not just in my head. Well, don't worry. At the very least, everything's fine with me. It seemed like nothing had happened to Keiichi today, at least. Now that the heads of the 3 families were gone, it was possible the curse system had been destroyed entirely. If that was the case, then Keiichi might not be attacked after all. But if there was someone who did want to attack him, that meant part of the system was still alive. In other words, my mission wouldn't be accomplished just yet. Keiichi is like a litmus test in this situation. I know whether or not all my enemies were gone depending on if Keiichi got bitten. He sure is a very useful man. After that, I went along with what Keiichi said. I made sure he was fearful of Mion as well as all of the 3 families. I explained to him the possibility that the whole village was involved, and that the curse of Oyashiro-sama might be some sort of system. Then I remembered Shion wouldn't know too much about the disappearance of the mayor, so I continued. Just heard this myself. Is it true that Uncle Kimiyoshi went missing? You mean the mayor? Wait, Shion, you haven't heard? I don't know anything. I just overheard my father talking about it on the phone again. Yeah, actually, last night, after the meeting, he didn't come home, so the whole village was in a panic. They searched all over Hinamizawa, but if they found him, then I haven't heard. The police should be searching for him as well. Why didn't you tell me something that important right away? Sorry, I thought you already knew. I didn't want to hide it or anything. Keiichi, what should I do? What's wrong? Tell me. We're not keeping secrets from each other, right? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to hide it. It was just that, the conversation got turned around and we're on the same side, right? I won't get mad, so just tell me. My Uncle Kimiyoshi, I told him everything. Old man Kimiyoshi. He's someone you feel comfortable confiding in, Shion? Yes. When I was little, he was really nice to me. All I did was play tricks on him, but he'd always just smile. He listened to anything I had to say. He was such a kind person. Calm down, Shion. It's not like he's dead, right? Don't lose heart so easily. Keiichi tried to make me feel better, but he had no idea what was actually going on. It really made me laugh. At night, I told the mayor that we snuck into the ritual storehouse. Also that someone saw us and was out to get us. Does the mayor know how absurdly Mr. Kano and Mr. Tomitake died? Yes, he knew about it. I told him that they died by Oyashiro-sama's curse, and that I could be made a sacrifice to calm his anger. I just said it straight out. Right. What then? Uncle Kimiyoshi didn't get angry. He smiled, then told me that if I was remorseful about it, there was no way I'd be demoned away. He was really smiling, and he told me to leave it to him. Hiccups. I actually got a little sad while saying that. Uncle Kimiyoshi had been so reliable. I was happy when he said he would protect Shion. I truly was happy. Only he hadn't said anything to insult Satoshi. It's my fault. Because I confessed everything. Stop it, Shion. It's not your fault. No, it is my fault. I told him our secret. Uncle Kimiyoshi found out about everything, so he had to have been killed. It was right after I confessed to him, after all. He disappeared the same night, and he told me everything was going to be alright. Such a strange feeling. I wasn't upset at all, but as I pretended to be upset and muttered words of prayer for Kimiyoshi's safety, I started to feel that emotion growing inside me. I was only pretending to be distressed to fool Keiichi, yet the emotion I feigned began welling up inside of me. Felt like I was being consumed by that emotion. So the words coming from my mouth weren't words I intentionally said. They were words that consuming emotion forced me to say. It was like someone else inside of me was doing the talking instead, and I was just watching that someone talk from a short distance away. I should never have told him. All of this should only have been our fault. Only the 4 of us. It wasn't something I should have told someone else. He got killed because I told them. He got killed because he knew. He got killed because I confessed to him. Hey, stop. They were doing that. They would obviously have killed you before killing the mayor. It doesn't make sense. You or I should have been killed first. Why would other people die before us? It does make sense. They must be planning to kill us last of all. What? They start by killing those we're close to, and after they've caused us so much pain, then they'll kill us. That must be what they're doing. What I just said scared even me. Killing our loved ones first to harm us emotionally, and only then kill us at the height of our suffering? Whoa, I felt something crawling up my spine. It's awesome. It's an awesome idea. I must not be human anymore. I really am a demon. A human could never think of such cruel things. That would be one incredible hell. Your close friends dying, one at a time after being tortured, and after all that, you get yourself killed? What a great way to destroy someone's life. Why was I getting so excited about this? Because I could get going with that plan right away. Rika! It's Rika! What? What did you say just now? Well, the truth is, I told her about it. I told Rika today. Rika? You mean Rika? The one from the Frude Shrine? Yes, Rika. I felt so scared and uneasy that I did it. I told Rika. When you did, what did you say? The cat is worrying too much. I'll do something about it for sure. That's what Rika said. Oh my god, and what she was going to do was come and fucking kill us. Christ alive. I'm sorry, Shion. I'm worried about Rika. Right, if you're that concerned, then don't worry about me. Please, go find out whether she's safe. Yeah, I'll do that. I'll call you again tomorrow at the same time. When I do, you'll know I'm still alright. I got it. I'll be waiting. Okay, bye. Sorry, I'm hanging up. Keiichi hung up roughly. What a hilarious conversation with Keiichi. Everything was just too damn funny. Keiichi Maebara, go ahead and struggle helplessly. Run all over the village and see if the curse is still alive. Go ahead and see if my enemies are still around. I laughed for a while and then calmed down. I'd already got rid of the bicycles and shoes belonging to Rika and Satoko. My house was, for the moment, taken care of. I could expect Keiichi to run around in a panic, to ask for help from someone, and then ultimately come to Mion. More than likely, the youth group would end up looking for Rika like they did with Amaya. Probably have to endure another long night again, knowing nobody would find her. I decided to wait until the phone rang. I killed time by watching TV until it did. Keiichi, are you serious? I'm going to get really mad if this is a joke. I scolded Keiichi for suspecting that Rika had disappeared. Mion, if it really is a joke, don't get mad, smile. It'd be a joke after all. We need to go make sure whether it's a joke or not. You're right. Sorry for getting upset. Reina rebuked me. While she looked quiet, I felt she could be terrifying under her skin. I had no basis for that impression, but I still felt that way. I just didn't like her. I disliked her ever since that rainy day at the bus stop. It wasn't that we didn't get along, though. How should I put it? I was at a loss for how to explain. That was it. I found a good example. When I was little, I always wanted to play tennis. I had my relatives take me to a tennis court and they all praised my skill. I was doing nothing more than hitting a ball with a racket, but they told me I was talented and that made me happy. When I went to school, I told my classmates I played tennis and they told me I was talented too. Then, one of my classmates, who was usually very quiet, said she also played tennis. Not only did she play, but she took lessons. Although I bragged about my serve, I was no match for her. I felt lonely and insulted that everyone was paying attention to her and not me. She was usually very quiet, but suddenly I realised she knew more and had a lot more experience than me. Reina at the bus stop was just like that. I thought of myself as a demon now. I'd awakened a part of me that was half human and half demon, the part that lived in Onegafuchi village. In fact, I'd already stepped into a world where normal humans couldn't go. I'd already surpassed my human limits. I genuinely thought myself as a superior being, having transcended the realm of mortals. But when my eyes met with Reina Ryuga's, I felt what I did a long time ago with tennis. Why? Why did I feel that way with Reina? I'd heard that in the animal world, during battle, animals glare at each other to display their strength. Only humans have to punch or kick each other to feel superiority or inferiority. Most animals can tell just by glaring at each other. In that case, could it be the same with Reina? Mion, are you okay? Yeah, sorry. I haven't slept since yesterday, you know. Sorry. Keiichi climbed up on a ladder and tried to peek into the window on the second floor where Rika and Satoko lived. It was my job to hold down the ladder. Reina cautioned me to hold on to it tightly. Mion, I'm going to go check the main house just to be sure, okay? I'll be right back. Okay, be careful. Reina ran off after that. When I looked up, I saw Keiichi trying to open a window, but all of them were locked. What did Reina mean by main house? Keiichi asked me from the top of the ladder. So the Frude family's actual house. After her parents passed away, I think it's been left like that. Right. Rika's parents, they passed away, huh? Satoko's also an orphan. Her parents fell from a cliff because of Oyashiro-sama's curse. Then her older brother, Satoshi, he disappeared. Satoshi, I've heard that name before. You'd heard the name before? Felt anger growing inside of me. Don't you know whose desk you're using every day? You act as if it belongs to you. You drop food on it while eating lunch. You drool on it while taking a nap. Don't you know who it really belongs to? Why am I acting this way? I'm Mion. Satoshi doesn't even exist anymore. He was demoned away. It's hardly Keiichi's fault he didn't know. It really isn't his fault. Satoko and Rika have been living in this shack ever since. Neither of them has any family, but at least they're together. They help each other out. Didn't Reina say there was a main house? Wouldn't it be easier to live there? I think she tried that at first. She said it was hard though, because it reminded her of her parents. How I feel about my home. Reminds me a lot of my dad. After everyone in Stoko's family died, she started living with Rika. It only made sense. Stoko and Rika were best friends. They didn't care about the Hojo family or the Furude family. They'd been friends since before the dam conflict. The reason why the curse never fell upon Stoko? Rika Furude probably had a lot to do with it. That made more sense than anything else, at least. Stoko was pardoned from the curse of the Hojo family, all thanks to Rika Furude's arrangements. Stoko had never been a victim on the night of Watanagashi. According to the curse system I'd uncovered, the last survivor of the Hojo family still living in Hinamazawa would be the perfect target for this year's curse. Therefore, whoever was responsible for executing the curse must have tried to take her life. However, nothing happened to her, proving that Stoko had escaped from the curse. That was really and truly infuriating. She might have been the head of the Furude family, but I still couldn't accept that such a little girl had enough power to protect her best friend. Shion must have had the same power then. Just like Rika protected Soko, Shion protected Satoshi. Damn it. Rika and Stoko, they have it hard, huh? She's cursed. Huh? Mion, what did you just say? I said she's cursed. Don't show me the eyes! Mion, why are you making that face? Stoko Hojo. She's been cursed by Oyashiro-sama. I can't accept that Stoko was pardoned from the curse, although she was a member of the cursed Hojo family. She was one of the cursed Hojos. Satoshi wasn't pardoned, but Stoko was. She was cursed, but she got away. She escaped the curse, but Satoshi didn't. Can't accept that. In fact, Stoko should have been the one to be cursed the most. She cornered Satoshi physically and emotionally. That was why things got weirder and weirder, and in the end everything went crazy. When I think back on it, it was Stoko who I hated most of all. She cornered Satoshi. Why is that asterisk? And as a result, Satoshi disappeared. She started it. She caused it. If only she hadn't been there. Just as Rika, Furude, and Stoko had lived happily, maybe there'd been a happy future for me too. Sorry, I'm looking this up. Okay, I can't find anything, so I'll look that up in my own time. Maybe there'd been a happy future for me too. Maybe Satoshi and I could have started our lives together in Okonomiya. Yes, if I look at both the beginning and the end, it's so obvious. Stoko's existence caused everything. Satoshi had to kill his aunt because of Stoko. The three families used that need to create the curse, and then they killed him. The police were convinced he just ran away, but he'd never do that. He was the type of person who always did his best at everything. All by himself. He was doing the very best he could for his only sister, yet he was forced to vanish. He worked so hard for Stoko, and though he was living just for her, he was erased. Poor Satoshi. He was so underappreciated. That girl knew no gratitude. She was cursed. If you got near her, you'd meet the same fate. You'd be cursed to die or disappear. That really was it. She was the main cause behind it all. She wormed her way into Rika Furude's good graces, and that was why the curse fell upon Satoshi. She should have died first. Then Satoshi would still be alive. If he was alive, I could have done something for him. I can't forgive her. I can't forgive Stoko. I cannot forgive that girl. There can be no peace with her. There can be no peace. She was the perfect target for the curse of 1983. The curse of Oyashiro-sama. Rika Furude, the reincarnation of Oyashiro-sama. Rika was dead. The reincarnation of Oyashiro-sama had died. There was no more god in Hinamazawa to deliver the curse. I'm the one who has to deliver it now. I am Mion Sonozaki, the head of the Sonozaki family, one of the three families of Onigafuji. Now all the heads of the three families are gone, there is nobody to surpass me. I will deliver the curse of Oyashiro-sama and nobody else. I'll deliver it. I am the curse. I have become Oyashiro-sama. I felt hot bubbles boiling over deep inside of me. I could tell the demon inside of me wanted to roar. I noticed Keiichi was looking down at me. Calm down, Mion. You can't tell what you're thinking. Calm down, calm down. At that point, I heard footsteps coming closer. I saw 4 or 5 adults, accompanied by Reina, running towards us with flashlights in their hands. One of them opened the lock on the cabin door, and we all went inside. Of course, there was nobody there. Toko and Rika lived alone. I doubt that Toko would have left a note saying she was going over to the Sonozaki house when Rika was there already, but it wouldn't be fun if she had. Because of that, I hurried into the room ahead of Reina to make sure there was nothing left behind. The rumour of Rika and Toko's disappearance spread around the village quickly. More and more villagers gathered at the Furude shrine. Acting in place of the head of the Sonozaki family, I commanded them to search the village. The villagers nodded and scattered. How long had it been since the last time I was truly Mion? I felt so pleased that my body almost went numb. Lots of villagers went in and out the shrine. They yelled at each other that she was nowhere to be found. Some suggested other places to look, and they all left. They made a lot of noise with their comings and goings. Members of the Women's Association brought out huge pots and gas cookers from storage and got ready to cook for the men. That was when I noticed Keiichi suddenly walking towards a copse of dark pine trees. What was he thinking? How stupid of him to be alone on a night like this. If the person responsible for executing the curse was nearby, he wouldn't come back safely. Mion, we went all around Ojaga Lake, but we didn't find anything. We tried to light up the pond, but we're going to have to wait until the sun is up. Okay, thanks for your hard work. The women are making miso soup, so please rest up and have some. Mion, do you know where they usually park their bicycles? No, they probably park them at the bottom of the stairs leading up here. I don't think they come up while carrying them. We can't find their bikes. Where did they go? If they left on their bikes, they could have gone pretty far, maybe even as far as the town. In that case, we'll have to look outside of Hinamizawa. By the way, who first noticed that Rika was gone? It was Keiichi. He suddenly had a hunch. Oh, that Maebara kid, huh? He's a little suspicious. Speaking of which, why hasn't the Maebara family shown up when we're in a crisis like this? Maebara still haven't joined the town council, so they're not on the youth group's phone directory. Really? Well, ain't no helping it then. Huh? They joined, didn't they? I think it's just that the name isn't in the directory yet. Last time we updated it was at the beginning of the year. They just muted it, so that's why they aren't on it. That Maebara kid's hunch is still suspicious. They do say that the first on the scene is the most suspicious. Where did he go? Saw him walking towards the pine trees. Can someone go get him? Conveniently, I saw Keiichi and Reina walking back towards us. Keiichi, where did you go? I was worried you disappeared too. Sorry. Looked like nothing had happened to Keiichi. If so, that's fine. That means I took care of all my enemies. Oh my, oh my, oh my. I knew I smelled something good coming from over here. I'd be much obliged if you'd allow me to have some. I heard the loud, sticky voice of a middle-aged man. It was Oishi. He must be confused about this year's incident. The scale of the curse this time is nothing like the previous ones. Oishi's information network is about equal to, or better than that, the elders on the town council. In other words, he could easily uncover a rumour that was circulating through the underside of the village. He must have came here to see if the disappearance of Kimiyoshi and Rika had something to do with the changing of the lock on the ritual storehouse's door. The police will come for me sooner or later. I am Mion Sonozaki. By removing all of the heads of the 3 families, my enemies, I've become the head in their place. I can't allow Mion Sonozaki to continue existing. I'll have to destroy the existence of the head of the Sonozaki family. When I destroy my own position, that is when my revenge will come to an end. More than likely, I'll have Oishi witness my final moments. My eyes and Oishi's met. Damn it, he thinks I'm suspicious already. You're right, Oishi. I did it. Mion Sonozaki, the head of the Sonozaki family, is the culprit. Heh. I was really glad that's the end of the chapter because I was really out of it. The ladder, it's the path to hell and it's a ladder. Rika Furude. She was the head of the Furude family, but she never even appeared at the most important meetings. Even if she did show up, nobody would ask for her opinion, so it never really mattered if she was there or not. A legend of the Furude family says that if the firstborn child is a girl for 8 generations in a row, that 8th girl would be the reincarnation of Oyashiro-sama. According to Takano-san's research, Rika Furude is very likely to be the one. Surely she must be an important icon in the cult of Oyashiro-sama. The true believers are devoted to her. So it's quite surprising to me that Rika Furude herself was the assassin. It's unbelievable. It's just too abnormal. Usually a VIP like her wouldn't be the one to assassinate someone. It's possible that it was the Rika Furude lookalike. From the way she moved, she seemed experienced in fighting. It's not normal that a small girl like her would jump me without faltering. Just got lucky because I had a stun gun. Without it, I don't know what would have happened. She was far more skilled than she looked. Was she trained as an assassin? Was it a body double? Everything is a mystery, including that creepy syringe. What's going on? I can't understand. She was like an apparition or something. Did Oreo Sonozaki know of her existence? What is hiding on the underside of this village? That underside might run much deeper than I thought. At this point, I believe that I can complete my revenge by destroying the curse system entirely. That means that I have to eliminate the heads of all 3 families, the successor Shion, and the assassins who are after Keiichi. Although Keiichi is completely unguarded, he hasn't been attacked so far, even though I told everyone that he was one of the trespassers. In fact, it's me who's being attacked. Rika Furude attacked me. According to my theory, Keiichi should make for very attractive bait, but nobody has done anything to harm him. Since Rika Furude attacked me, it might be that opposing the Furude family is a greater taboo than trespassing in the ritual storehouse. Rika Furude had said that the intrusion wasn't a big deal. She sounded like she was going to let Keiichi walk, and after I accused her of that, Rika Furude attacked me that very night. They're 2 different factions. Does one handle trespassers in the ritual storehouse, while the other protects the religious doctrines of the Furude family? No, that doesn't make sense. Mr. Tomitake's death must have been caused by the Furude family's injection. Rika showed me the effect of it herself, clawing at her own throat and dying like that. But Mr. Tomitake shouldn't have been subject to the curse, at least according to the system with the Furude family. Oh, I don't understand why Keiichi hasn't been attacked. Did he have something exempting him from the curse, unlike Mr. Kano? Just like how when Toko Hojo was spared? Keiichi is a friend of Rika Furude's. So does that mean that if you were close to her, you wouldn't be cursed? Was she more important than the whole system? That's impossible. The hag was at the top of the curse system. Rika couldn't have been higher up than her. Scribble, scribble. There are multiple ways to determine the subject of the curse. Are there as many curse execution groups as there are subjects, and do they all work separately? It's a mess. None of my theories add up. If I mess up my reasoning, I might make the wrong person the target of my revenge. I don't understand who the enemy is, or how Satoshi was made to disappear. How much did the hag know? That really was a huge loss. I have so many things I wanted to ask her. I killed her by accident. Shit. In that respect, I've already failed at my revenge. The underside of Hinamizawa really does run too deep. Scribble, scribble. The whole page is blacked out with scribbles. Shit. The bed. Well, folks, that is going to do it for me for tonight. I am going to say thank you very much for watching. It is very much appreciated, and I do hope that you enjoyed. I will be streaming Dishonored Death of the Outsider on Saturday, where we shall be breaking back into the archives and seeing what's what there. Then on Sunday it'll be Destiny 2, where we'll be doing more activities. We've not got any Season of Arrival stuff at the moment, so we're catching up on older activities. Then next Tuesday it'll be Final Fantasy XIV, where we shall be working out what the fuck is going on with Elidibus and what all that nonsense is. Ben will not be a stream next Wednesday. As always, it will either be Destiny or Syndicate. I haven't decided yet, but next Thursday will be Higurashi When They Cry Meakashi, where we are going to finish off the story and see where the revenge path leads us. So take care, everybody. Have a wonderful evening. Do look after yourselves. Be excellent to each other. And I shall see you guys on Saturday.